a game where you are fated to die from the start. In this video, we will rebel, go on crusades, and kill everyone who will oppose us. After each crusade, we will use the materials we got in order to upgrade our safe haven. The cult will grow day by day. Every day, we will get more and more followers to join us. This game has everything: roguelike elements, a good story, amazing graphics, even satanic rituals. You can literally give shrooms to your followers. We will do anything necessary in order to get revenge. But before doing any of that, at the beginning of this journey, we didn't even have our freedom. The angry dagger holding minions around me were basically telling me to go up. Well, not like I had any other choice, but okay. After walking up, I was welcomed by the 4 antagonists of this game and a pentagram that gave me the option to kneel to be sacrificed. I had to die in order for them to preserve something called the Old Faith. According to some prophecy, a lamb was going to destroy the Old Faith, so they decided to kill all the lambs. Without any other choice, I accept my fate and close my eyes. The axe goes up and a second later, I sadly die. Shortly after, I open my eyes and look around a bit confused. I was surrounded by something that looked like clouds held by chains. The floor was filled by the skulls of probably previous fallen victims. Without any other choice, just like before, I start walking up. There, no other but the one who waits was, waiting for me. This interesting fella made me an offer. I died, but he could save me. With the options being yes and absolutely, this was the 3rd time when the game gives me basically no option. Come on. The one who waits gives us the red crown. Sensing that its master will change, the crown opens its eyes and starts to look around. A second later, it gets on my head, and quickly after, this once harmless lamb is filled with power. This is Cult of the Lamb, one of my favorite games so far. Just like a phoenix, we rise from the ashes. Even more, that little crown was able to give us a sword. The 4 bishops from before were gone, and we were left alone with some proper level 1 enemies. Of course, them and our urge to get revenge. I literally shattered the stone that was blocking our way. Again, with just one option, I clicked on the next floor. This level had the icon of a sword. For now, we had no clue what that meant. Before I got to fight more enemies, I met Ratau. Ratau is a friendly NPC which will be helping us in our journey. Satisfied with my discovery, I started slashing everything in the room before I left. Doing so, I discovered that there were breakable objects. I didn't really get anything, but at least I got a small hit of dopamine. The next room was filled by some angry caterpillars. I take quick care of them, and for that I am awarded with a chest holding a staggering 1 gold. The next room was basically the same, a couple of angry caterpillars and a chest with 1 gold. Next room was filled with minions, and just like the ones before, I was rewarded with a chest holding another gold coin. As expected, another room filled with low-level enemies. I think we know what the sword emblem represents, a level filled with fights. After taking my well-earned gold coin, I was pleasantly surprised by the next room. After advancing, I was presented with only one choice again. This time, it was the icon of a stickman kneeling. I was welcomed by a very unusual sight. One random fella was going to get sacrificed if I didn't do something. Naturally, I started slashing. While fighting the 3rd minion, the game prompted me to press space to dodge. This would have been the first time when I got hit, but because this was a tutorial, the game made sure to show us how the dodge works. After the fight, I approached the little guy, then proceeded to cast satanic magic and send him through some sort of a portal like it was nothing. I was like, yeah, sure. After leaving the room, I clicked on the last option, which was a question mark. I was welcomed by Ratau once again, who, long story short, told me to meet him outside. We would meet not in any place, but in our safe haven. I got a total of 7 cheeky gold, turned into 11 since I didn't take any damage, so that's like plus 50%. Now that we were in our safe haven, Ratau explains me that followers I free are basically slaves. They work for me in return for shelter and food. That little magical circle is where the new followers await us. Each follower will have random traits, but to be honest, they don't really matter, like, they don't matter at all. After accepting them and giving them a new uniform, you can tell them what to do. With that said, Ratau gives me a mission asking me to collect 5 lumber and 2 stone. Luckily for us, the safe haven was filled to the brim with wood, stone and food to, give us a head start. After getting the raw materials, the mission updates, telling me to build a cooking fire in order to make food for my followers. The building system was fairly easy to use, with me just choosing the location of the new building. After that, I needed to build it by holding E next to the structure. With that, the mission updated again, telling me to cook a meal. The cooking system was also easy. I had to click E or left click when that little cursor was on green. Satisfied with my godly performance, Ratau tells me about the Fate system. Fate is basically the currency which you use to get new buildings. To be able to get Fate from my followers, I needed a temple. Because of this, I was given the mission to go for another run in order to find enough money to build a temple. Well, simple enough. After walking up, I am welcomed by 4 doors. Each door was the entrance to the domain of the 4 bishops that sacrificed us at the start of the video. Each door will require a number of followers to open. The first one needed just 1 follower, lucky me. After a totally over-the-top animation, the door had no choice but to open. Entering Darkwood, I am given a total of 3 hearts, which will allow me to get hit about 6 times. Also, we got a Crusader's Blade level 1. In this game, at the start of each dungeon run, we will get a random weapon and later on we will get a random spell as well. I quickly realized that slashing grass gives me, well, grass. This was different from the tutorial, so I proceeded to destroy everything. First room, caterpillars and a reward of 3 gold coins. Nice. Naturally, I made sure to destroy everything in the room before leaving. The next room was a mix-up made of caterpillars and minions. Easy peasy. Even so, I somehow managed to lose half a heart. And finally, a new enemy. In the next room, I was welcomed by bats. And even more importantly, traps. In the next room, while fighting more angry caterpillars, something concerning happened. The room turned dark. It was Leshy, the first bishop that I will be fighting. He was understandably confused. How could this be? I was put to the blade, but yet here I was holding a sword. Even more, I possessed the power of the Red Crown. Nonetheless, he had nothing to worry about. After all, I was still weaker. Still a bit scared, I roamed the map, finding for the first time the best location in the game. This was a tarot cards dealer. His name was Klonek, a trader that will randomly appear in our runs. He will let us choose from 2 random tarot cards. They can give us stuff like an extra heart, poison on hits, special effects and random buffs. This time I decided to go with an extra green heart, which is basically unhealable. You can think of green hearts as armor. After this, I went to the last room where I was rewarded with some gold and a gold flooring. This was basically a decoration I can use back in my cult. For the first time in this game, I was presented with 2 options, food or stone. I assumed that the game will give us enough food in the safe haven, so I picked the stone option. I was welcomed by a fairly small room which held a couple of minerals and some grass. Naturally, I proceeded to destroy everything. No loot can be left behind. After that, I clicked on the last icon which represents a boss room level. After clearing a bunch of minions, I was rewarded with a better sword which I immediately took. After clearing the angry caterpillars that were waiting for me, I noticed a bunch of stars and moons above a room. This is how you know that a tarot card dealer is waiting for you. This time my choice was the rabbit's foot, which will increase the chance to spawn better chests. Cleared another room of minions and then I entered the boss fight where one single minion was waiting. Once again the room gets darker. Leshy emerges from the shadows and the minion gives up his life in order to please his god. A second later, the little guy transforms into a literal monster. With rage in his eyes, he instantly lunges at me. Understandably, the first boss fight was pretty easy. He only attacked using a small jump, throwing projectiles that were easy to dodge, or spawning low-level enemies. At the end of the fight, after beating him, he turned back to his original form. That meant that I could convert him to my cult and get an extra follower. Nice! After that, I was given 3 options to choose from as my reward for clearing the level. Wood is needed in any game basically, so I went with the wood. After receiving it, I even got another chest with tons of gold. Before leaving, the seal on the door towards the bishop started to glow, but just 25% of it. I would probably need to beat this dungeon 3 more times until I get to fight Leshy. After returning, I was welcomed by Ratau, who was impressed by my performance. I indoctrinated the follower I got from the boss fight and told him to go mine stone. Quickly after, I am told to build a shrine using the resources I got from my run. Nothing crazy, I selected from the build menu, placed it in the middle of the cold and started building. As a reward, Ratau tells me that my followers can worship me now and even more. He gives me a free follower in order to collect devotion. I quickly accept the little guy and tell him that his job is to worship me. The upgrade tab was absolutely huge, but after telling the rest of my followers to worship and getting enough points, I started with the only available option, the temple. Simple system, you unlock something and it will appear in your build options. Also, it will give you more upgrade options just like a tech tree. With that said, I started to build the temple on the right as close as possible to the center. With the completion of the temple, Ratau tells us how to use it. The temple is the most used building in this game. Every in-game day you can do sermons, rituals or upgrades. It's way easier than it sounds. With the temple ready to go, the fate system was unlocked. See that little bubble in top left? That shows us how much fate we have. If the fate is low, followers will start to rebel. With that said, I held my first sermon. I got 3 points, exactly the amount needed for the first upgrade. After unlocking it, we got a permanent extra half a heart in our runs. When I was done, Ratau was totally impressed by my performance. Easy dub. With the tutorial done, the day and night cycle finally started on the top right of the screen. With this, day 1 officially starts and the tutorial is now over. Day 1 was focused mostly on cleaning up the safe haven. I started to mine stone, get wood, collect all the berries and do my best to prepare for the journey ahead. While I was doing this, the followers were working hard, worshipping me as I told them to do. They managed to get enough divine inspiration for me to get a brand new upgrade. Nice. I had to choose between sleeping bags and a farm plot. I decided that I wanted my followers to be comfortable, so I picked the sleeping bags, unlocking the body pit upgrade. Decided to keep farming before I make the beds, and after a couple of in-game hours, my followers generated enough divine inspiration for another upgrade. Thinking of the well-being of my followers, once again, I got the body pit upgrade. If a follower will die, we don't want his rotting corpse to scare the other followers. Even more, if we don't take care of corpses in future, people might get sick. With the first day coming to a close, I stopped chopping wood for a second and used some of my resources to create 3 beds for my followers. After I made sure that they are going to sleep, I went back to chopping. We do not need to sleep. I don't know if you noticed, but after collecting all the small-sized resources, I was left with 2 or 3 big trees and 2 or 3 big mines. These take ages to collect. Day 2 started with me chopping away at the second large tree. After I was done with it, I held a sermon where I got 3 experience points from my 3 followers. Later on, when I level up a follower, they will generate more points, and of course, we will be able to have more followers. Quickly after that, I resumed the mining with the intention of completely cleaning the area of resources before I do anything else. Seeing that my followers were hungry, I attempted to cook 3 meals and somehow I failed one of them. Come on! After shamefully cleaning up, I made a successful third ration of food. Collected the Divine Inspiration, which was not enough for an upgrade, so I went back to mining. One of my followers started to randomly run towards me waving. In this game, followers sometimes have requests you can fulfill. With this mission, the Germs meter was unlocked. His mission was for me to clean up the cold from the poop they left. After a second poop, my broom seemed to level up. Tried looking for a fourth poop, but I was unsuccessful for now. I spent the rest of the day mining away, and then I even caught 2 bugs that gave me a bit of Divine Inspiration. Day 3 started with really low fate for some reason, so I instantly rushed towards the temple for a sermon. Every time when you hold a sermon, you will get some experience and a bit of fate. That is what I wanted. After doing so, I got enough experience for a level up, so I picked Bane weapons. This upgrade gives me a chance to get a Bane weapon in my runs, which are basically normal weapons but they have a chance to poison the enemies. While mining away with the intention of finishing the resources, a follower approached me asking me to name the cult. After thinking for about 5 minutes, I was unsuccessful in finding a good name, so I let the default Cult of the Lamb. I am deeply ashamed. After literally mining non-stop for half a day, I went to collect the Divine Inspiration from my followers to finally unlock the farm plot option. After this, I decided that it was time for a new run in Darkwood. The weapon that we got was a Bane Dagger 1, not my favorite weapon, but it will have to do. In the first room, there was only one weak enemy, so it was an easy clear. The second one was filled with pets. The reward for this was 3 gold. When I wanted to clear the third one, the room got dark again and Leshy appeared in front of us once more. After yapping for a little bit, he disappeared, and after that he spawned 3 waves of enemies. After this weird encounter, we proceed and then we find Ratau. He was here to explain us another mechanic of the game, the curses. In this game, curses are basically abilities or spells. Every time we start a run, we will get 1 weapon and 1 random curse. Use the weapon with left click and use the ability with right click. This encounter was basically a tutorial to show us how to use our ability. After this encounter, it was already nighttime, and when advancing, we found a tarot card dealer. The choice was obvious, with me picking the rabbit's foot. At the end of the floor, I was rewarded with not only gold but also an extra tarot card. After looking at the minimap for a bit, I decided to go to the left since the store is a peaceful room. In this room, we can choose from 3 rewards and get it for free. We also had the option to buy another tarot card, but we didn't have the gold for it. In that moment, I realized that if I picked the food option, I would go to the boss level without any fights. But well, mistakes were made, so now we have to pay the price. This was a fight level, so I started it by stealing some devotion from Leshy and then destroying his statue. After clearing the first room, the night was over and it was day 4. Day 4 picks up in Darkwood, with us still trying to finish the run started in day 3. Clearing the first floor, I was rewarded with a couple of gold and a tarot card. A free green heart, always nice. I continued advancing, getting close to the boss fight. I stole some devotion from Leshy's statue and then proceeded to destroy it as well for some stone. I fought some angry caterpillars and was rewarded with a Crusader's Blade level 3. Even more, I got a new follower form. They are basically skins for your followers. I literally never bothered to use them. More bats, more caterpillars, advanced with no problem. The next room had a river, which was a nice change of scenery. After killing all the enemies, I made sure to destroy and loot everything else. When I found a new tarot card dealer, my choice was the Fervor's Harvest. This will make enemies drop double fervor. You can think of it as mana you use for spells. Found the boss room and I started to poke at its health bar using my curse. After using my ability 3 times, my fervor was on 0. I would need to kill a monster to regen it, so now it was sword time. This boss fight was a bit harder for sure, with the boss having more jumps and projectiles compared to the previous one. After defeating him, I was able to convert him to our cult and was offered 3 rewards again. The options were 13 berries, a follower skin or 16 wood. The choice was obvious: collect wood. After making my choice, I got another chest with gold and a commandment stone fragment. If we get 3 of them, we will be able to get a new upgrade at the temple. Managed to get away with a fair chunk of loot. Before getting back to the cult, I faced the one who waits, who was really pleased with my progress. When I got back, the fate was really low, so I instantly held a sermon. I already somehow had a full commandment stone, so I unlocked the bonfire ritual. This is a ritual where we would dance around the flame to increase the cult's fate. The ritual would give us a big chunk of fate back, but it cost bones, which I didn't have yet. Before I managed to leave, Ratau spawned out of nowhere and gave me a mission to go look for bones. He really wanted us to perform the ritual. Cooked some of the food for my followers, and before I knew, one of them approached me for a request. If we wanted to survive, we needed food, so his request was for me to build a farm plot. Before doing any of that, I collected the divine inspiration till I had enough for an upgrade, but then I got interrupted by Yarbrena and Artrion, who started fighting. What? No fights allowed. After breaking them apart, I used the divine inspiration to upgrade the cult level. This would allow us to collect more devotion and have more followers worship us at the same time. After the cult was successfully upgraded, I built 3 body pits to be ready in the event where a follower will die. Knowing that I have a 4th follower waiting for indoctrination, I built another bed. After I was done, I went to talk with the little guy, accepted him in the cult and appointed him to the shrine to generate more devotion. I started day 5 by doing a little bit of farming. To be precise, 6 farm slots where I planted berry seeds. After watering them, the mission was now completed, so I went to Yarbrena to collect my reward. This would normally give the follower a lot of experience, but I didn't unlock the experience system yet. After holding a quick sermon, I almost got enough points for the next upgrade. Well, almost. Decided that the best option I had was to go in Darkwood again for another run to look for bones for the ritual. In the first room, I found the Apostate's Cleaver 1. The axe, or the cleaver, is literally my favorite weapon in this game. The next room was filled with low-tier enemies, and also a really weird square statue that had a really creepy face. Even more, for some reason, it constantly tried to kill me. After clearing the enemies, the statue left, so I got my rewards, cleaned the grass in the room and advanced. In the next room, I found one single new enemy type. It shot 1 projectile and died. Not a good day for that monster. Quickly after, it happened again. The room turned dark and the same force imprisoned me. This time, it wasn't just 1 bishop, but 3 of them at the same time. They were as appalled as Leshy, but they decided to not tell their brother. Instead of informing the 4th bishop, they decided to have Leshy deal with me in its own domain. After they left, 4 waves of enemies spawned, and because of this, I lost a full heart. Found another tarot card dealer and I picked the card called the Lover's One, which gave me a free green heart. Clearing the next room was quick and easy, without any unexpected events. After that, I got a chest with gold and a nature's necklace. Gifting this to a follower will make him harvest bonus resources. Always good to have. The next room I picked had the same icon as my crown, so I was intrigued. With that said, I found a statue of my crown surrounded by camellias. After interacting with it, the statue told me that my possessions will follow me through death. This basically meant that even if I died, I would still keep my items. The next choice was a sword, so probably a level full of fights. Stole some more devotion from Leshy and destroyed his statue for a little bit of stone, once again. In the next room, I found Kudai, a blacksmith that when encountered will give me 3 weapon choices. Usually, this is basically a free upgrade. My options were a normal sword, the Curse Flaming Shot or Bane Sword level 2. I picked the sword to test it a bit and swing it around with the plan to get back my axe. When I tried to do so, I pressed R instead of E, which recycled my axe. Funny way to discover a game mechanic. The following 2 rooms were easy peasy, but after I cleared the second one, the room went dark once again. I just stood there waiting for Leshy to appear. It was right in that moment when my dumbass looked at the time to realize that it just turned night. No Leshy this time, just the perfect timing. Went back to explore the rest of the map and then I found this horrendous looking statue. It was literally covered in spikes and ice. It gave me the option to sacrifice health. When I did so, the statue told me that a single red heart has been sacrificed. Diseased hearts were received in return, a very peculiar trade. I didn't know at the time, but those are special hearts that when hit you damage all the enemies on the screen. Another river room with normal enemies that gave me a bit of bones, berries and grass. The exit floor awaited me with a chest full of gold, and after picking it up, it was time for the boss level. Started by stealing some devotion as usual, then proceeded to fight the low tier enemies in the next room. By the time I was done with them, I could see the sun. It was the start of day 6. The next room was filled with traps, bats and angry caterpillars that now learned how to jump for some reason. As a reward, I got a normal sword with the same level as the one I was using. Didn't plan to take it, but I realized that you can recycle a weapon if you pick it up first and then swap back to your main weapon, so I just did that. The next room was filled with traps again and 3 monsters. 2 were shooting projectiles while the third one was going underground. Cleared the room pretty quick, but even so, I lost some HP since I was not paying attention. Found a tarot card dealer where I picked Gift from Below. This was an amazing upgrade that would give me a 10% chance to get a green heart when killing an enemy. The boss was a mix of smaller monsters I fought just now. After slashing it just twice, I managed to poison it for a bit of damage while it was buried underground. Not only it was able to go underground, but it also had projectiles, spikes projectiles, and a fair bit of HP, so I had to play smart. Poke, wait for it to attack, dodge, slash a couple of times, retreat and repeat. Because I was actually trying to play smart, I managed to beat the boss without taking any damage at all. Just like the previous fights, I indoctrinated him as a new follower. After that, I was faced with 3 options for my reward and I picked the wood again. As usual, I got my chest filled with gold and a commandment stone part. I got a hefty amount of items in this run with a cheeky 20% bonus since, you know, I didn't take any damage in the boss fight. Before I got back to my cult, I was faced with the one who waits, once again who decided to give me the ability to read my followers' minds. This is nothing hype, it's just the option to go to a follower and see his or her stats. Collected my divine inspiration, did a bit of farming and went with the farming bundle upgrade. When unlocked, it would allow our followers to pour water on the plants if they needed it. Took care of a tree sapling that was growing where I wanted to build a farm, and when I was done, I placed the schematic and started to build it. After it was ready to go, I moved around the already built farm plot to be in range of the farm. Each farm has a limited range, so I had to keep that in mind. Quickly after, I started to build a seed silo, a building where you place seeds for your followers to use. If you have any unused farm plots and seeds in the seed silo, the followers will start to plant them. While working, I noticed that one of them pooped, but it was not a normal poop, it was a rainbow poop. What is going on in this game? Finished the silo, filled it with seeds and bought more farm plots, just enough to complete a full square. My OCD is at fault for this, but I wanted the square to be like a square. I even put some fertilizer to make the plants grow faster, but when I used the rainbow one, the plant instantly grew. Nice touch. Got a request from Artrion telling me that when times are hard, I can cook grass meals. This will lower the morale, but hey, at least they won't die, right? His mission was for me to cook him 1 grass meal, fairly easy. The grass meal is easy to cook and it doesn't even have a red bar. Mission complete, but again, kinda wasted since I didn't unlock the XP system again. Cleaned some poop and my broom leveled up once again. Ran around the base to catch a spider, then built 2 more beds knowing that I will have more followers coming in. Cleared some more poop, got 2 more spiders, got my mission reward from the sleeping follower. Indoctrinated 1 more follower, which is assigned to the shrine as well. I completed the mission from the one who waits to read the follower's mind and collected the divine inspiration, unlocking the scarecrow. The scarecrow protects the farm plots in the area from birds. No clue how dangerous the birds are, but hey, better safe than sorry. Day 7 started off with a bit of farming, collecting berries, planting new seeds, watering them, you know, the usual stuff. Got a crown upgrade where I picked Work and Worship 1. I had to choose between the Faithful trait, which will make all the followers generate devotion 50% faster, or Industrious trait, which will make them work faster. I think the first one was better, so I choose it right away. I had the option to do the bone ritual, but my faith was maxed out, so it would be smart to wait. Held a sermon, which gave me enough points to upgrade Might of Devout 1. The Might of the Devout upgrades are the best upgrades you can get. They are basically raising the level of the weapons I get in each run. After not even 1 minute, I changed my mind, going like, fuck it, let's just do the mission. So then, this unholy scenery unfolded, after which the followers were happy like they saw a puppy or something. They're like, yep, nothing unusual here. With this out of the way, Ratau spawned again and told me about the loyalty system, basically unlocking it. This is the system that will allow me to level up followers, so if I had this, I would also get follower experience for those missions I did before. After showing me how it's done, the Lonely Shack was unlocked on the map. This is where Ratau lives. We'll have to check it at some point. I realized that I can give blessings to followers, so I just went ahead and blessed everyone for free experience. This is a feature that can be done once a day. When a follower levels up, he will generate more devotion and more sermon points. We want that. I got a random mission from Amdusias? Okay, Amdusias, who was suspecting Artrion to be a spy. This was unexpected. Hearing this, I instantly went to Artrion. After I talked with him, nothing seemed wrong, but just to make sure, I decided to use the ability I got from the one who waits and read his mind. Even after doing that, nothing seemed out of the ordinary. Returned to Amdusias, who was still thinking that Artrion was hiding something, but there was no proof. This time, when completing his mission, he also got experience. Nice. Chopped a bit more wood, cleaned some poop, took out 2 tree sprouts, collected some divine inspiration, gave my farm a bit of water, then it was time to visit Ratau's place. Why not? Behind his house I found a cheeky follower form, giving them a rat skin. Inside the shack I found Ratau, who instantly told me a game called Knucklebones. Without hesitating and anticipating a reward if I won, I joined the table and gave it a shot. This game is easier than it will sound. You roll a dice and then you put it in one of the 3 rows you have. You will get points depending what number you rolled. If you put a number on the same row where the enemy had that number, you cancel his dice and make him lose points. If you have the same numbers twice in a row, you get more points. The game ends when someone's slot are fully occupied by dice. You count the points and who has more of them wins. Pretty easy. After I won, I was rewarded with a tarot card. When I got back, I collected the divine inspiration points and got just enough for an upgrade. I went with the shelter upgrade, which will make the beds sturdier. This will make them collapse less often. That is basically less wood needed to repair them when they get broken. Count me in. Before everyone fell asleep, I gave a gift to one of the followers and got enough experience for him to level up. Day 8 starts with a request to build 3 decorations, which I immediately accepted. Before doing that, I watered my crops, making sure we have that food. I quickly followed with a sermon and got almost enough experience for an upgrade. Made sure to also give everyone a blessing to get some experience going. Wanted to complete my mission, but I realized that the only decoration I had were the golden roads. For some reason, they didn't count for the mission. The next best move was to get enough divine inspiration for a level up and choose the basic decorations upgrade. After doing so, this will unlock some cheap decoration options. Decided to build 3 wood barrels, which cost me 1 wood each, and place them in a random spot, but a bit later I realized that they could go next to the beds. Make my followers comfortable. Accepted the mission reward, which gave my follower a fair chunk of experience, cooked them some food since they were hungry, and then I got enough divine inspiration for a new upgrade. 2 followers were exhausted, so I ordered them to go to sleep even if it was daytime. Some moments later, I entered Darkwood once again. I was welcomed by Leshy, who let us know that he will be waiting for us in his temple. It was finally time to finish this. The weapon I got this time was a dagger, who I would normally say that is the worst weapon, but a pretty cool upgrade will make it relevant later in the video. Just like that, the fight started once again. Bats, caterpillars, traps, angry face statues, you name it. After getting my gold coins chest, I kept pushing to the next room, where I was welcomed by a bunch of angry minions who instantly charged at me. As a reward for clearing out the room, I got the Follower Arch decoration. This would have been useful just a while ago for that mission, where I used 1 divine upgrade to get basic decorations, but yeah, just my luck. The next room was a tarot card dealer. Always good to see you, buddy. My choice was the card Master of the Arc, which gave me a 20% boost to my overall weapon damage. Cleaned out the grass around him and then headed to the next room, where again I found an angry pack of minions and a face statue. After clearing out the room, I continued to the next one. That was kinda awkward. I was faced with only one caterpillar and that was it. Dude was on a mission. Slashed everything, getting more grass, some camellia flowers and some seeds. With that out of the way, I entered the last room of the floor, which gave me a new flower necklace. If we give this to a follower, he or she will generate devotion faster. I was presented with a couple of options, but I decided to go right to the question mark room. I basically got a bunch of grass for free and I was presented with two options. The option to pick half a heart or half a green heart. I was already down half a heart, so this was a perfect little heal. My next room was a follower rescue event. Pretty obvious what happened next. After 3 waves of enemies and half a heart gone, I managed to save the little guy. Just like before, I used our dark magic to teleport him back to our cult. You know, depending how you look at it, this might be human trafficking. The next level had a sword icon, indicating that it was a level full of enemies and fights. Started the floor by stealing some of Leshy's devotion and went ahead and killed more angry caterpillars, and then the room turned black once again. It was Leshy, who was getting frustrated by my actions. He kept telling me that I should not trust the Chained One. I mean, I don't trust him at all, but for now, he saved me while you tried to kill me, so yeah. With him disappearing, a wave of enemies started to spawn around me just like before. After the first wave, I was busy taking notes on my other monitor and I didn't notice that another wave spawned. Because of that, I got hit 2 times, but yeah, after that I killed everyone. The reward was 3 gold coins and 6 bones. Boo! With just a bit of time left of day 8, I kept pushing and pushing, killing enemies and doing my best to not get hit. I got another cheeky 3 gold coins, a bone and half a heart. The room to the south was a tarot card dealer, so I immediately went there. My choice was the rabbit's foot, which increases the chance to spawn better chests. The loot goblin inside me was really happy. One more wave of angry minions marked the final seconds of day 8. It was a new morning. Day 9 started with me finding a very peculiar location. A lake with a fisherman fishing next to it. Damn, that's hard to pronounce. This guy told us about a new location and basically asked me to leave. The next room gave me 2 amazing options. A sword upgrade or Bane Axe 5. Considering that the axe is my favorite weapon and it was also a Bane weapon, the choice was obvious. I obviously started the final floor by stealing devotion and destroying the statue for stone. The enemies in the next room stood no chance. They basically got one shot, making this literally a one-sided fight. Got rewarded with some gold and half a heart of healing. To the north, I found another tarot card dealer, and this time my choice was the Fervor's Harvest. This will make enemies drop 2 times more fervor. The following room was filled to the brim with enemies, but again, they got absolutely destroyed by my axe. Got some gold, bones and grass. After killing 4 more angry caterpillars, I was unexpectedly given 2 choices. One of them was an Apostate's Cleaver 6, the perfect upgrade before the boss fight. Even so, after picking it up, I realized that the damage difference from my axe was just a 0.1, not really worth giving up the poison effect. I returned to a room that I didn't clear, and after beating it, I was rewarded with a farm plot sign. When I got to the last room, the Bishop's Temple door was finally unsealed. It was time to finally face Leshy. When I got inside, I was welcomed by Leshy and 5 followers who gave their life in order to power up their god. What? The fight itself was interesting but fairly easy. His moves were basically a mix of all the previous smaller boss fights I had. Going underground, spikes, projectiles and spawning weaker monsters. Even so, my axe was pretty strong, so the fight was a breeze. Upon killing Leshy, his corpse split into 2, revealing the still beating heart. After taking it, the seal on the temple door broke, chain by chain. I was rewarded with a plank flooring skin, a commandment stone fragment and the Leshy trophy decoration. Even more, I got an extra 20% resources for defeating the bishop. Before leaving, I was stopped by the one who waits, who really wanted to tell me that he enjoyed seeing Leshy fade away. When I got back to the cult, I apparently had a welcome party, and after I showed everyone Leshy's heart, they started to dance and praise their god. The moment I got back, I instantly tried to collect the divine inspiration points acquired while I was gone, to just get interrupted by Yarbrena and Arthreon, who started a fight for no reason. After breaking them apart, I collected the rest of the divine inspiration points, putting me just 1 point away from a level up. I collected all my grown plants and then planted some new seeds while my followers kept praying to the shrine, giving me enough points to get another upgrade. Placed the scarecrow, and after seeing its range, I realized that I will probably need to move around my farm in order to optimize the used space. Just before that, I cleaned some poop, repaired the bed that for some reason was broken, found a golden poop, and finished building the scarecrow that took ages to build. Right after I was done, Arthreon asked me for some flowers from Darkwood, 10 camellia flowers to be exact. Had no reason to not accept this task. After that, I hopped in the build menu to try to find the best way to place everything. After moving things around, I built even more farm plots so my OCD will be at least a bit satisfied by the shape. The night finished with me completing the farm by myself since all my followers were asleep. Painful process, but now I could plant tons of seeds. Started the day by tending to the farm a bit, making sure that the food income is stable. We don't want our followers to die anytime soon. Collected a divine inspiration, enough for an upgrade, but before that, a new follower was waiting for indoctrination. Okay, I think it's safe to say that if you're still watching till this point, you are enjoying the video. Help a brother out and hit that subscribe button, and tell me in the comments, how do you think the game will end? Is the one who waits a friend or a foe? Went back to the shrine and I decided to unlock the lumberyard. A passive source of wood. I instantly placed one, then I built it together with my followers. As a thank you, I gave them blessings, gave one of them a necklace, cleaned some poop, and my broom leveled up once again. Cooked some food, and I noticed that in the meantime, they generated enough divine inspiration for another upgrade. Since I unlocked the lumberyard, I decided to unlock his brother, the stone mine. Didn't have enough resources to build one though. On my way to hold the sermon, I noticed that there was a broken bed, which I immediately fixed, built 2 more beds, and then I held the sermon, from which I got enough experience to unlock vampiric weapons. Just like the Bane weapons, this upgrade gives me a chance to get vampiric weapons in my runs. They are weapons that have a chance to give me health regen upon killing an enemy. Using Leshy's heart, I was able to get my first crown upgrade. From the 4 options, my choice was a resurrection. When killed on a crusade for the first time, sacrifice a follower to be resurrected. I also had enough commandment stones for a doctrine, so I went with work and worship too. My options were inspire or intimidate. This was an easy option. I chose inspire, which will basically upgrade my daily blessing for free. Better blessing equals more experience equals more levels equals more sermon experience. Quickly inspired everyone before visiting the Pilgrim's Passage. I looted the resources available, and then I entered the lighthouse, where the lighthouse keeper instantly gave us a mission. We had to fuel the furnace of the lighthouse with 15 wood. Didn't have enough, but I quickly chopped a tree and completed the mission. In return, I got a bit of divine inspiration. When walking on the dock, I encountered a red wolf spirit. He was hungry and he demanded some fish. Already having 3 salmons, I gave him one, and in return I got a relic fragment. Fair trade if you ask me. Finished the day by talking with the fisherman, learned how to fish, and got a new tarot card. Neptune's Curse. Enemies have a chance to drop fish. With the day almost over, I decided to fish a bit more. I started day 11 by literally draining the river from its fish, plus I got a free follower skin. When the day arrived, I noticed that now the Pilgrim's Passage has, well, pilgrims. Think of them as traders that can give us tarot cards or follower skins. Nothing game breaking, but it's always good to have. We returned home, collected the shrine experience, blessed everyone, got a commandment stone from leveling up a follower, fixed the bed, cleaned some poop, held a sermon, and I got enough experience for another upgrade. I picked the Curse of the Horde, an upgrade which will make 3 new curses appear on my crusades. When going towards the dungeons, one of the chains holding the seal towards the one who waits broke. 3 bishops and 3 chains left. Even if I was able to go to the next realm, I entered Darkwood once again since I had a mission to find 10 camellia flowers. Before getting our weapon, I was welcomed by Haro. He tells us to be careful since the monsters in Darkwood suddenly became stronger in the absence of the Bishop Leshy. Luckily, this run we got a Vampiric X4 and the spell we got was Point of Corruption 4. When cast, we would throw a blob of darkness and poison which will damage enemies who step on it. The first room was easy peasy. In the next one, we find a tarot card dealer. The choice was obvious. With the Arachnid in our pocket, our X would deal constant poison damage and occasionally heal us. The following rooms were a breeze. Our X was strong enough to carry us. In the third room, it got dark once again. I was expecting a bishop to appear, but I got trolled. It was just nighttime, that was all. Even if the following room had only 4 weak minions, I literally almost died for no reason. 1.5 hearts left. At the end of the floor, I was rewarded with a gold chest and a tarot card. Divine Strength, which would increase our attack rate by 25%. I was presented with 4 options, but since I was low HP, I went with the Heart, a room that will instantly heal us. The NPC in this room is Ratu, a depressed little fella who is always fishing in some demonic blood river. Also, just ignore the giant heart that's behind him. In this room, you can find both red hearts and green hearts, so I smashed all the boxes. We were now sitting on a comfy 4.5 hearts. The next floor was a fight one, no problem. By this time, we already had 5 out of 10 camellia flowers. Stole some devotion from Leshy's statue, broke it, and this time some weird portal appeared under it. When I approached, it gave me the option to travel. Since I was trying to finish my mission, I decided to ignore it for now and come back later. After clearing a room, I found a blacksmith that gave me the option to get a level 5 cleaver. After clearing the next room, I was given 2 options for my reward. My axe was better, so I decided to just recycle the vampiric dagger for an extra gold coin. The next room was filled to the brim with different types of enemies, but again I had no problems in clearing it. The end of the floor welcomed us with a chest filled of gold and a leafy flower sculpture. 1 more decoration added to the list. With this out of the way, it was time for the boss level. Stole some devotion, got some stone from breaking it, got some leaves, and then again I ignored the portal. At this point, I was starting to suspect that there is a way to beat the stone statue, but I didn't want to bother with it. Killed the minions, got my gold coins, and advanced. This was the first time when I would see an enemy with a special effect. The little symbol above that caterpillar tells us that it will poison the ground whenever we hit it. After clearing this room, we had 9 out of 10 camellia flowers. After killing more enemies, I was presented with 2 options for a new curse. I picked Maelstrom 5 and then I recycled my old spell. With that out of the way, it was time for the boss fight. The little fella was named Witness Agares. The fight itself was pretty easy, with him dashing and dashing and dashing. Once in a while, he would retreat and spawn a lot of weaker minions, but that was not a problem. The next time when he did the exact same thing, it was a bit annoying, but again I started killing the minions. Now you see, I admit, when he did the same thing the 3rd time, it was a bit more annoying, but it is what it is. After beating his monster form, we sent him back to our cult. Presented with 3 reward options, I chose the wood once again. Collect wood. On top of the wood, I got 23 gold coins, 13 bones, and 1 piece of commandment stone. Also, we got a new item called the Eye of the Witness. I had no idea what this was. After finishing the level, for some reason, the door started to shine in a very weird green light. What this did, it basically sent us back to the start. My guess is that this is a function if you want to keep farming the same dungeon over and over. I broke Leshy's statue out of anger and the portal appeared once again. This time I was like, fuck it, okay, let's see what it does. And I entered the portal and then it happened. I was sent directly to Leshy to replay the boss fight. He didn't seem to have any real upgrades, so the boss fight went just like the first time. Nothing unusual happened. The one thing I noticed was that he spawned more monsters and he had more HP. After killing him, we got a new follower skin, a commandment stone fragment, 43 gold coins and 12 bones. Before getting back to our cult, we were interrupted by the one who waits. After yapping for a bit, he unlocks us a new ritual: Sacrifice of the Flesh. With this ritual, we would be able to sacrifice a follower to get more experience. The higher level a follower is, the more experience we will get. When I got back, it was nighttime, so I cooked a bunch of food to be ready for the next day and collected the already maxed out Divine Inspiration. The upgrade I chose was the refinery. This building will allow us to refine basic materials into better ones. Day 13 started with everyone eating to their fill. Finished building the second refinery, cleaned some poop, and then I went to do a little bit of farming. While farming, I decided to build some seed silos so I can just put my seeds in there and the followers would help me plant them. After finishing it, I continued farming with the intention to collect all the grown plants. While doing this, I was interrupted by one of my followers. Some creatures were there seeking shelter within our cult, but they were sick. Should we let them join? I accepted, and then I was notified that new followers were awaiting for indoctrination. Before I took care of any of that, I wanted to finish up farming. Watered the crops, filled up the seed silos, gave some blessings, collected the experience from a level up, collected the Divine Inspiration, and then I finally placed a stone mine. I repaired the bed, cooked some food, and then it was finally time to accept the new followers. Before accepting the sick ones, I used the refineries to combine all the gold nuggets into gold coins. After cleaning some poop, I thought it would be funny to wake up everyone for a sermon. This gave us enough experience to upgrade Hearts of the Faithful too. We would permanently gain half a heart. Since we had enough commandment stones for a doctrine, I went with Work and Worship 3. The options were the Glory of the Construction and Ritual of Enlightenment. One ritual would make it so all the building structures would be completed immediately. The other ritual would make it so we would get 20% more devotion for 3 days. The second one seemed way more useful, so I picked that one. After that, I decided to try the new sacrifice ritual. After picking a follower, he would walk in the middle of the pentagram and then a demonic tentacle would appear out of nowhere, grabbing the little guy and killing him. After getting the experience, we would also get his bones. I lost 15 faith because I woke up everyone and disturbed their sleep. Even more because I sacrificed someone, my followers were uneasy about it. Because of that, I lost another 10 faith. A new day, a new sermon. This time I got Weapon Mastery. We basically unlocked the heavy attack option for each weapon. Each weapon had a unique heavy attack. This is the upgrade that would make the dagger a little bit more useful. I blessed everyone, cooked some food, and then told the little guy who was sick to go and eat. I was still oblivious to the fact that I need to tell him to go to sleep to get better, so I just kept him sick like that. After that, I built 2 more beds since I knew that more followers were going to come in. Cleaned more poop, collected a little bit of Divine Inspiration, I waited for 1 more, and then I got enough for a level up. The upgrade I chose was my favorite building in the game, the outhouse. This is basically a toilet where followers can go and poop, so I can just collect the poop instead of running around and cleaning everything. Since I needed planks to build it, I went to the refinery and used some wood starting the process. I accepted the second sick follower and then I got a really weird request. Finamor asked us to not judge him, but he always wanted to eat a meal made of poop. Will we help him satisfy this dark desire? Well, I made him the food, he ate it, and then he became gravely ill and will die in a few days if not rested. Even more disgustingly, after he ate, he went and laid down his own poop. I accepted the reward for the mission, and then again I was completely oblivious to the fact that I need to tell him to sleep to recover. I also collected my reward from Yarbrena, gave a blessing, she leveled up, and then I kept giving blessings to everyone. Today was the day when I realized that in this game, followers age. Yarbrena was now old. After watering my crops, I finally realized that I need to go and tell the sick followers to go to bed and sleep. Finished tending to my farm, cleaned some more poop, and then my broom leveled up once again. After that, I didn't know what to do, so I decided to finish up the day by fishing. Day 15 started with us getting back to our cult and getting a new mission. To complete it, I performed the Ritual of Enlightenment. After a totally insane animations, all the cult members were happy again like they seen a puppy. Since my fate went a little bit lower because of the ritual, I did the ritual of bones as well. Because of this, basically our fate maxed out, and then I did the most amazing blessing I ever did until now. Everyone was grouped up, so I basically blessed everyone with one click. Cooked some food, collected some divine inspiration, and then I started another run in Darkwood. This time we got the Tempest Gauntlet 4. This weapon is mediocre at best. To deal any significant damage, you need to do a full combo since the last hit is where the damage comes from. So, you do have damage, but you need to do the full combo, and because of that, you are basically staying in one place and you're exposing yourself to damage. This was the first time when I was faced with new enemies. They had some sort of armor. At that time, I thought that the monsters leveled up so much that I'm just weak and they are that strong, but they just have armor and we have a way to break that, but I didn't realize it yet. Because of that, this simple fight against two minions took forever to complete. After a half an hour fight and almost dying, literally one heart left, I was rewarded with a couple of gold. For completing the next room, I was rewarded with 3 more gold coins and half a heart. The next room was sadly too much for me since I didn't really like this weapon. Upon dying, I was faced with the option to kill a follower to revive, but this was not an important run, so no thank you. This was the first time when we died, and because of it, the one who waits appeared in front of us, telling us that we have nothing to worry about. If we die, he will just revive us. Because I died, I lost a bit of faith, but it was just 10, so nothing major happened. Collected enough divine inspiration for the next upgrade, which was the offering statue. This is a place that followers can use to basically gift us materials or whatever they find appropriate. A bit disappointed from my defeat, I decided to relax for the rest of the day and tend to my farm. Just like this, we are in day 16. Did a bit of farming, gave some blessings, and then Finamore started to talk with me. He was in love, but Velafar didn't know he existed. The mission was for us to collect another 10 flowers from Darkwood. Accepted the mission, gave more blessings, and then I started to build 2 outhouses. I was finally able to do them because the refinery was working on creating planks. With that out of the way, I got enough sermon points to get another upgrade. This time we unlock necromantic weapons. When we kill an enemy, there is a small chance that a ghost will spawn and will damage the nearest enemy. The moment we entered Darkwood once again, we instantly got a necromantic weapon. After clearing the first room and getting our gold coins, we found a new NPC. His name was Chemak, and he is basically some sort of a dealer, but instead of weapons, he will give us relics. You can think of them as ultimates. Each relic has a different effect. This one, for example, when cast, will use lightning strikes on all the monsters around us. After taking more unnecessary damage, I finally used the heavy attack of the dagger. After charging for a bit, multiple daggers would fall in a straight line coming from above. This was amazing, taking in consideration that the downside of the dagger was that you expose yourself to damage. Got a bit of gold, and I also got half a heart of healing. After clearing one more room, we arrived at the end of the floor and we were staying at a very respectable 4 out of 10 camellia flowers. We also were rewarded with a skull necklace. If we would give this to a follower, he will live way more than he would normally do. About double the amount of time that a normal follower lives. Presented with 3 options, I went with the fight option since I wanted to get more wood. In this level, for the first time, I used my relic, which one-shot everyone in the room. After that, we found a tarot card dealer where I got an extra half a heart. The next room was cool and it was filled with enemies. This time I abused the heavy attack. The weak small dagger was suddenly now relevant. It was day 17. Skipping a bit of the run, we were rewarded with 2 options. I instantly picked the Bane Sword 5 and I recycled my dagger. The heavy attack of the dagger is pretty cool, but a Bane Sword is just better. After that, it was time to collect the wood. About 3 piles of wood, and 2 trees later, I advanced to the boss level. After literally the first floor, I was given another 2 options. Didn't care that much about this because I don't really use spells, so I just picked one and then I advanced to the next room, which was a blacksmith. There, I was presented to get my initial spell back with an upgraded level, which I did. It's a very useful spell and I used it in the previous room quite a bit, and I noticed that if you cast it, you can hit enemies and throw them into walls, dealing even more damage. So yeah, useful, why not? In this room, I found another one of those OP little minions, and this time I used my brain. For this type of minions, if you hit them with a heavy attack, they will drop their armor. After breaking it, I immediately killed him after with like 2 hits. This was embarrassing. In the next room, I was killed, and I was presented with the option to kill a follower in order to revive. This is where I did one of the biggest mistakes in this video, but you will understand why later. I decided to sacrifice the old follower because he was old, he was going to die anyway, and if I kill him like this, he will at least give me half a heart. After reviving, I finished the room, got another half a heart of healing, and went to the boss fight. I started the fight by immediately missing my relic attack, and then I even died, so I sacrificed the little fella for nothing. I'm sorry. When I got back to the cold, I lost a bit of faith since I got martyred 2 times, but even so, it won't be a problem. I cooked some food, collected the divine inspiration, and got my reward for the mission. After looking in the menu for a bit, I decided to get the prison upgrade. I didn't need it yet, but in the future, if the fate goes low enough, some followers might rebel. When something like this happens, you need to take care of that follower. That means killing him or imprisoning him. Better safe than sorry. After that, I gave them a couple of blessings, and after I was done, I decided that it was time to upgrade their beds. The night arrived while I was building, and because of it, the followers stopped working and they just decided to fall asleep on the ground. Okay, listen. For day 18, I forgot to press record on OBS, but I had NVIDIA Shadowplay running, and I kinda saved the replay, but day 18 starts with YouTube in the background. I was watching some bodycam footage.
Or to tarnish the 9gag website's image if it was discovered to be hosting these things.
The weapon we got was a dagger once again, but yeah, nothing I can do about it. After a couple of rooms, which I am going to skip, we found a tarot card dealer. This was the first time when we got an upgraded tarot card, Master of the Art Plus. This would boost our overall weapon damage by 50%. If we get an X, this might be OP. After that, we found a new room, a very peculiar looking statue that was holding gold coins. We had the option to make a 20 gold donation, and then I got a message that the gold was stolen. The statue is angry. Wait, okay, this was not planned, like this is not me narrating. I think I just realized what just happened. I think the statue knows that I got the gold coins from the packs that were around it, like from the same room, and I think I was supposed to give her my gold and then steal the gold around it. I think that's the way to go. But yes, I didn't realize at the moment, I didn't expect this, so yeah, it is what it is. When I tried to advance, the room got dark once again. This time it was Heket, the second bishop. It was angry that I failed the youngest of them. The second bishop was angry, and because of that, one of my followers appeared out of nowhere and I was told that they shall starve. I was presented with 2 options and I picked the follower rescue room. By the time I entered this room, my YouTube video was finally over, so now I can just use the sound without any problem. After advancing a little bit more, I noticed that the theme of this level are frogs, so the boss fight will probably be a frog. Here we found another upgraded curse, the Divine Curse Plus. Curses would consume 50% less fervor. We kept advancing and advancing, and then again I was presented with 2 options where I got the Death Sweep level 5. The boss fight was named Gusion or Gushan, or yeah, I don't know. But as expected, it was some sort of a frog. As usual, after defeating his monster form, we got another follower. On top of that, we got a chest filled with gold, a commandment stone fragment, and our reward was 10 pumpkin seeds. Just like in Darkwood, after beating the first floor, 25% of the seal towards the boss was now open. Before arriving to our cold, we were welcomed by the one who waits once again. This time he tells us that when we go to our cold, we would find an offering chest. Using the offering chest, I would be able to provide offerings for him, and in return he will give us gold coins. In simpler terms, we got the option to sell materials or items and get gold in return. When we arrived home, the chest just plopped next to the building section. I started off day 19 by instantly cooking bunch of food because everyone was starving because of the bishop. After that, Finamar tells us that the flowers were not enough. He needed to wow them. Could I make a delicious meal for them to share? After collecting the divine inspiration, I started tending to my farm. While doing so, I realized that the lumberyard was now destroyed, so both the lumberyard and the stone mine seem to have a limited time where followers can work on it, so I'll have to keep that in mind. After tending to my farm, I got enough divine inspiration for a new upgrade, and my choice was the missionary building. This is a building where I can appoint a follower to go in a mission in order to look for resources. After that, I realized that I had enough resources to upgrade 3 more beds, so I did so instantly. Indoctrinated 2 more followers, and by that time we had a total of 9 and it was nighttime. Once again, I thought that it would be funny to wake up everyone for another sermon, and then I did a crown upgrade. My options were Glory Through Toil Ritual and the Holy Day Ritual. The first option would make our followers work throughout 3 days and nights without getting tired. The second option would make it so that everyone got a day off, and for that I would get a lot of faith in return. I didn't have any problems with my faith level, so I decided to go with the first option. After unlocking it, I saw that I have enough resources for the ritual, so I instantly started it. After that, I started to clean the poop, and I found 1 golden poop, 1 glowing poop, and 1 devoted poop. This felt like I was getting all the Exodia cards. After taking notes of the rare poop that I found, I even found a normal one, so I kinda found 4 types of poop in one night. Now it was day 20, and wanna know what I did? I will tell you what I didn't. I didn't start the recording for about half a day. We needed more wood in order to finish upgrading all the beds. Because of that, I joined Darkwood once again. When entering, we got a Vampiric X7, which was amazing. Since we already know all the monsters that are in Darkwood, I will just include the important moments. Finishing the first room, we found a new relic. Found a tarot card where I picked the Lover's One, which would give us a full green heart. Got a random relic that would turn a random enemy into a critter, no clue what that means. As a reward, we got a feather necklace. I chose to go to the right since a bit later we would find wood. Ignored the relic dealer since my relics seemed to be better, and I continued. Another tarot card dealer would give us the rabbit's foot, more chance to spawn better chests, count me in. After clearing a room, we were rewarded with not 1, but 2 tarot cards. The first one was Divine Strength 1, but the second one I accidentally skipped it because I thought it was the same animation going again, so yeah. Got a funny looking relic that would say that we would increase in size, and it seemed interesting, so I was like, why not? Picked it up, and when used, as expected, we increased in size. I don't know how this would help us, maybe we deal more damage, but yeah, it looked funny. At the end of the floor, I picked a Necromantic X8. After doing it, I realized that the damage difference was just a 0.1, so my Vampiric X was better. Starting day 21, I collected the wood and then I proceeded to the next room. It was time for the boss fight. After the first room, I was offered the option to get the Crusader's Blade 10. Even so, decided to recycle it and keep my Vampiric X. When I found the tarot card dealer, I chose the Diseased Heart. This would make us damage everything on the screen when we get hit, so that's a cool upgrade. The boss fight was pretty much the same. I fought Witness Agares, who had the same abilities as before. After I got my gold chest and my wood, I returned to the cold. After collecting the divine inspiration, I decided that the best option was to build 3 lumberyards. This would give me a passive income of wood, so wood was not going to be a problem anytime soon. After building them, I appointed some of my followers to go and work in the lumberyards, and I started to tend to my farm. After finishing collecting my farm, I also got some poop from the outhouses. After that, I planted new seeds, watered them, and I finished the night by building 2 more upgraded beds. I started day 22 by selling bunch of bones in the offering chest to get some gold. With the gold that I got, I decided to build 2 stone mines since I had 3 lumberyards, so I wanted to be even. Coincidentally, after I built the 2 stone mines, the previous one collapsed, so I built a 3rd one. Cleaned some poop, held a sermon, and then I went to the Pilgrim's Passage in order to fish. While fishing, I randomly found a relic, Beak of the Fowler. When activated, this relic would instantly refill our fervor. After that, I used most of the day to keep fishing until there was nothing left. When I got back to the cold, it was already nighttime and I cooked a bunch of food for my followers and started tending to my farm. When I got back to the cold, a very unusual sight awaited me. One of our followers has died. I prepared the body for the burial and then I carried it at the top right of the screen. Today was a sad day. Today was the day when Amdusias died, so we had to bury him. I started day 23 by collecting wood and stone from our mines and then I sold some meat for some gold. After also selling some pumpkins, I placed 6 more beds in order to get new followers. After holding a sermon, I was 1 point away from an upgrade. Collecting some poop from the outhouses, my broom leveled up, I think 2 times, I'm not sure. This was the first time when I talked with Rakshasa, a caterpillar NPC where you can buy seeds for gold. At this point, it was safe to say that we had a stable source of food, wood and stone, so joining Anura, it was time to advance in the story. The weapon I got this time was Bane Dagger 7, a bit unlucky but at least we have the heavy attack. Before I even had time to fight, I got a notification that Artrion has died of old age. It seems like the first generation of followers were dying one by one. After advancing a little bit, the room got dark once again. It was not 1 but 3 bishops. All 3 bishops were there. Heket started to talk with me, giving me the option to bow to him. If I didn't, I would regret it. Of course, I refused and out of anger, he changed all the map into fighting levels. Yo! Not gonna lie, this was a power play. Found a tarot card dealer where I picked Shield of Fate. When attacked, we have a 10% chance of negating damage. When advancing, I found some weird looking mushroom people. The Great Sozo sent them to find his beloved manticide shrooms. He only cared for mushrooms. His madness was growing. When they arrived, they realized that they don't know how to find the shrooms and now they were too afraid to return empty-handed. If we were to say, bring him the shrooms, he would give us a reward for sure. We would be able to find him at the Spore Grotto. With this dialogue done, we basically unlocked another location on the map. After clearing the room, I got a tarot card, Shield of Fate, and now I realized that in the last tarot card dealer, we didn't pick Shield of Fate, we picked the Diseased Heart. In the next floor, nothing new happened, so I'm just going to speed up the footage. The reward for clearing the floor was a Vampiric X8, which I immediately took. After clearing the first room, we found a tarot card dealer where I got an extra half a heart. It's safe to say that the boss fight was pretty easy. This monster was actually weaker than the one before. Except a fancy looking dash that also shoot projectiles at us, he didn't really have any impressive moves. As usual, after defeating his monster form, we sent him to our cult and this time I chose the Nature's Necklace. After finishing the run, I started day 24 by cooking food. The next upgrade that I picked was Demonic Summoning Circle 2. I didn't use this yet, but this is a building that would allow us to transform a follower into a demon that will help us in our runs by either doing damage or giving us different stats. Another sad moment was when we had to part ways with Artrion. After cleaning the place a bit, I held a sermon that gave me enough experience for an upgrade. The best thing I could pick was the Kudai's Blessing. This would give us the option to resummon a weapon or a curse, but the level will be reduced by 1. To be honest, I never used this, I completely forgot about it, but I think what this does, we can re-roll the weapon that we get at the start if we don't like the weapon. This is when I realized the mistake I did when I killed that old follower to get just 0.5 hearts. Even if they are old, their level is high, so if you sacrifice them in a ritual, you get tons of experience. Didn't have any good options to pick, so I unlocked the Fervor of the Righteousness one. This would increase the amount of fervor we can hold at a time. We also had a commandment stone, so I decided to get a new doctrine, Possession 1. My options were Extort Teaches or Bribe Follower. The first one would make each follower give us a gold coin a day. The second one, bribing them, it's almost like a blessing. You give them gold and you get a little bit of experience. Follower levels are really important, so I decided to go with the second one. After that, I blessed and bribed everyone, collecting resources on the way. Got one new follower, blessed him, bribed him, and then I started to work on the farm. When the night arrived, I decided to upgrade the rest of the beds since I had all the resources needed to do so. This would allow me to not care that much about the beds since now they were sturdier and I won't need that much wood to repair them. I started day 25 by building the beds. This time my followers were awake, so they instantly came to help me. After that, found a glowing poop, chopped a tree down, collected some divine inspiration, and went ahead and held another sermon. After blessing and bribing everyone, I started to build the demonic summoning circle 1. To build its upgrade, I needed more planks and upgraded stone, which I didn't have yet, so I would have to refine them. With that in mind, I went to the refineries and I started to produce the materials that we needed for the upgrade. After waiting for a couple of minutes, I had enough resources, so I built the upgraded version of the demonic circle. The first follower that transformed into a demon was Finamor. Each follower transforms in a different type of demon. He was a sword-type demon. Every couple of seconds, he would melee attack the closest enemy. You can have only one demon of the same type, so I wanted to see if I can transform Velafor into a demon, but he was old, so this was not possible. His demon type was a ghost, which basically would give us 4 extra green hearts at the start of a run. Since it wasn't possible, I transformed Anwar, who had the same time, but it was only level 2, so we would get 2 hearts. After farming for a bit, I went to hold the ritual, the Glory Through Toil ritual. Our followers would work for 3 days and nights without getting tired. With the day being almost over, I decided to finish it by visiting the Spore Grotto. Just like the Pilgrim's Passage, this location had a couple of stores. Going further, we found an NPC called Sozo. He introduced himself as a researcher of all things mushrooms. After a bit of yapping, he tells us that if we go to Anura, we might be able to find manticid mushrooms. We also got a quest to bring him 10 of those and we would be rewarded. I also accidentally clicked on this gacha summoning thing and I got a random follower skin for some gold. With the night almost done, I decided to start a run in Anura where we got a necromantic sword 7. I only had time to clear 3 rooms and at the end of the third one it was already daytime. It was now day 26. We found Chemak, who gave us the Seal of the Bishops, a relic that would freeze time for a short duration when activated. In the next room, I decided to give the relic a try, and after using it, I realized that we just unlocked the Sharingan. After finishing the next room, we were welcomed by Heket. Out of anger, he decided to cast a famine upon our cult. A bit annoyed, I continued our run, finding some stone and then rescuing another follower. We already had extra beds, so he was more than welcome. The next room was a fight level, and I initially thought that we would have no problem, but in the end I died. I decided to kill the follower named Kill. This was basically his destiny since day 1 because his traits were horrible. After getting 2 hearts in return, I was able to clear the next 4 rooms and then we found Chemak once again. We got a relic called Atrial's powder box? Okay, Atrial's powder box, I got it. When cast, it would use a random relic. After clearing 2 more rooms, we were standing on a very respectable 17 manticide mushrooms. Going on the next floor, clearing the first room, we were rewarded with a Bane Sword 8. Count me in! Right as I said that, we found Kudai, who gave us the option to get a Necromantic Sword 9. 4 rooms later, we were facing Zepar, the boss fight of this level. Just like the previous boss fight, it was a frog, but this time it was a bigger one and it was spawning smaller frogs. Come on. His attacks were fairly easy to understand, but for some reason I kept getting hit over and over and over again. Don't get me wrong, I still won this, but I won the fight with half a heart left. Barely breathing, I approached him and sent him to our cult. When presented with the 3 options for my reward, this time I chose the gift. We would be able to give this to a follower to get a big chunk of experience. After that, we got our usual gold coin chest that gave us 24 gold coins, 11 bones and 1 commandment stone fragment. With another seal fragment destroyed, we returned home. Cooked some food, held a sermon and I had enough commandment stones fragment for another doctrine. My choice was possessions too. We had to choose between belief in materialism trait or belief in false idols trait. The first one would give us more faith when we would build better sleeping quarters. Since we already had them, I thought that it would work, but I'm not sure if this activates when you build new sleeping quarters or if you already have them built. But yeah, my choice was the first one. For some reason, I don't know why I don't have the footage for the first half of day 27, but the recording starts with us building the prison, finally. And now I remember why I built it. I had the mission to accept one new follower that was going to make problems. As you can see from his eyes, this is how it looks when a follower lost his faith in you and will start making trouble. When this happens, you can educate the follower once a day. Of course, it won't be enough to do it just once, so until he will come back to his senses, we need to put him into the prison. Cleaned some poop, started to work on the farm, and while I was doing that, Velafar has died of old age as well. Because Zepar had the trait Terrified of Death, we lost 10 fate. This will sadly mark our 3rd burial. Finished farming, gave some blessings, and I also held a sermon. Since the day was almost over, I decided to go and visit Sozo to give him the mushrooms. In return, he gave us a relic fragment and then we got the mission to bring him 20 mushrooms. If we did that, he would teach us how to brainwash our followers. I don't know what this means, but I'm curious. After putting some materials in the refineries, I waited for day 27 to finally finish. I started day 28 by holding a sermon and trying to educate the angry follower once again. Collected some resources, did a bit of farming, and then I got a mission from Antre. When I found him, he was traveling together with Mertreno, his brother, and he wanted us to find him. No reason to not accept the mission. After I transformed 2 followers into demons, I went into Darkwood to find his brother. The weapon we got was a dagger, but at this point it doesn't really matter. After 2 rooms of enemies, I found a tarot card dealer where we got an upgraded tarot card. The Master of the Art Plus. Overall weapon damage increased by 50%. After clearing 2 more rooms, we got to the end of the floor and we were rewarded with a relic. This relic would rain down a storm of lightning upon the non-believers. When proceeding, I noticed an exclamation mark next to a follower rescue room, so I assumed that's the mission. With that in mind, I clicked on the question mark room, which gave us 2 options. Option 1 was a red heart and option 2 was half a green heart. Proceeding to the next room, after a couple of waves of enemies, we managed to rescue his brother. The next room was a room filled with meat. This is a bit weird. After that room, we got to the boss level. 1 room later, we found another tarot card dealer and we picked 10% crit chance. By the time I got to the boss fight, it was already nighttime, but this fight wasn't going to take that much. After defeating the boss once again, I chose the wood and then, as usual, I got a chest filled with gold and bones. When I returned to the cold, we had enough divine inspiration for an upgrade. I decided to pick Missionary 2, the upgrade of the building where we can send a follower in a mission. With this upgrade, we would be able to send not 1 but 2 followers in the same time. It was now when I realized that I didn't even build the Missionary Building 1, so I instantly started doing so. I started day 29 by getting a new follower and trying to re-educate Haon once again. Today it was time. He was no longer dissenting. It was time for him to be free. After reading his mind just to be sure, I opened the jail, giving the little guy the freedom he deserved. After watering my farm, I built 2 more refineries since I wanted more materials. Cooked some food, held a sermon, and we got enough points for another upgrade. This time I picked Fervor of the Righteous 2. This would increase the amount of fervor we can hold at a time. Cooked some food, transformed 2 followers into demons, and then gave the rest of the followers blessings. After taking care of everything, I entered Anura once again, where I was welcomed by Heket. The bishop made sure to tell me that he won't suffer the same fate as Leshy. He was going to wait for us in the temple. It was time to finish this. This run was already lucky since we got a Necromantic X7. After finishing the first room, we found a funky looking snake. He seemed to be friendly, and even more, he was friends with Ratau. After introducing himself, he challenged me to a game of Knucklebones. With this, we got another mission to go to Ratau's place and play a game with him. After this encounter, we found a tarot card dealer where I instantly picked the Rabbit's Foot. Increased chance to spawn better chests is always good to have. Nothing interesting happened for the rest of the floor, but at the end of it, we were rewarded with a telescope. This is a tarot card that will reveal the map for the rest of the run. After seeing the map, I decided to go to the left since there was a question mark room. We got some free stone and after that we got to the question mark room. In there we got 2 options to choose from, a tarot card or half a red heart. Of course, curiosity got the best of me and I picked the tarot card. The reward was a full green heart, so basically we won either way. The next room was a fight level with the condition that we would get double gold. After clearing just 2 rooms, we got another tarot card. And not just any card, but we got the Arachnid. With this, we would deal poison damage on every hit. After this, Hecate spawned once again, trying to tell me to not trust the one who waits once again. After he was done yapping, he spawned 2 frogs that I have to admit were pretty strong. Even so, I spammed the heavy attack of the axe and I managed to clear the room with minimal damage. After this, we got another tarot card dealer, where we got Master of the Art. This would increase the overall weapon damage by 20%. When we got to the end of the level, we got rewarded with a Necromantic Sword 8, but my axe was way better, so no way. The moment I entered the new floor, it was day 30. It was today when tragedy struck and OBS didn't record at all. These are my notes that I have in a notepad for day 30, so I'm just going to read them and yeah, that's all I can do. The boss fight happened in day 30. I died and revived. Even so, after reviving, I died once again. I held a sermon, held a ritual for a mission, and then I woke up a follower to level up. So that's basically what happened in day 30, and I am sorry for this. At the start of day 31, my lumberyards got destroyed, so I built new ones. After that, I collected all the shrooms, planted new ones, and while I was doing it, Antra gave me a new mission. It was once again to get flowers from Darkwood. Why are so many people asking me to get flowers from Darkwood? A bit annoyed, I still accepted this quest cause I don't know, I feel like I need to accept all the quests. After that, I visited the Lonely Shack where I fought Flinky in a game of Knucklebones. The difficulty for him was higher than Rathaus, but even so, this seemed way easier. The game ended in my win with a score of 54 to 36. Our reward was a tarot card called Mithridatism? Yeah, Mithridatism. This would give us immunity to poison. After I was done with that, I returned to our cult and I decided to send Finamur into an expedition to find wood. You can see that he had an 86% chance to return home with 30 to 42 lumber. This is basically a game of luck. If he dies, then we lose a follower. If he survives, we get materials. After I cleaned the base a little bit, I went to the Spore Grotto since now we had enough shrooms. After giving the great Sozo the mushrooms, he started to teach us how to perform the brainwashing ritual. After a funky animation, we got a notification that we got the brainwashing ritual. If we perform this at the temple, the fate will be locked at full for 2 days. After that, he was kind enough to also give us a relic fragment. When I returned to the cult, we had enough divine inspiration to get a new upgrade. My choice was the propaganda speaker. With this, we would ensure that our followers would hear our message. When within range of speakers, followers will work and pray 20% faster. After unlocking it, I moved the temple a little bit so we could place 3 speakers around the shrine. After I was done with the shrine, I also placed 2 speakers next to the farms. I started day 32 by building the speakers, who for some unholy reasons took ages to build. After I was done, I realized that we would need to fuel them with gold ingots. I only had 2, so I instantly went to the refineries and started to craft more. I decided that the followers who were working at the farm were way too slow, so I removed the seed silos. After I removed them, I made 1 more outhouse since poop is an important resource. Cooked some food, held a sermon, and we had another commandment stone, so it was time for a new doctrine. After choosing possession 3, we had 2 options just like before. The first one was alms for the poor ritual, where we would give money to our followers in return for faith. The second one was the opposite. The ritual of enrichment would make our followers give gold to us. I didn't feel like I had any particular need of gold, so I chose the first option. The day was almost over, so I blessed everyone and I waited for it to end while fishing. It was day 33 and I fished until there was nothing else left to fish. I went to the fisherman and gave him 1 of each important fish, and in return we didn't get 1, we didn't get 2 or 3, but we got 4 relic fragments. After that, I visited the lighthouse where we would get a new mission. We would need to bring 25 crystals to the lighthouse keeper. When I got back to the cult, I had enough divine inspiration for another upgrade. This was a big one, an overall cult upgrade. The temple and the shrine would be upgraded so we could collect more devotion and allow more followers to pray. After getting the upgrade, indeed the shrine got upgraded and now it looked way fancier. After this, I realized that Finamar was back from his quest, and the result was that he motherfucking died. He had an 80% chance of success, and he died. I'm so shocked that I'm even going to let that voice crack in the video. Like, how do you die with an 80% chance of success? What? As shocked as me, all the followers gathered around his dead body and started to puke while I was digging another hole. After I was done, I cleaned the place and then prepared the body for the burial. A couple of blessings and a gift later, some followers leveled up, and a second later it was nighttime. After collecting some divine inspiration, I made sure to refill the refinery queue. This marked the end of day 33. It was day 34. After giving some blessings and a sermon, I discovered something interesting. Using the relic fragments, we would be able to get a new cape. Each cape had a different effect. The yellow one would increase our damage after each kill, but it would reset when hit. Also, when we get hit, we would take double damage. The green cape would make it so curses deal double damage and cost half the fervor. The cost for this would be that melee weapon damage and our HP would be halved. The purple one would make it so when we draw a tarot card, we would gain 1 diseased heart. But when we get hit, we would become poisoned. The white cape would make it so we would get 4 tarot cards at the start of the run, but we wouldn't be able to get any new ones after that. The blue one would make it so all our hearts would be replaced by 1.5 times the amount of blue hearts. So we would basically have only armor and we would not have any red hearts. From all the options, I liked the most the white one. Looking fashionable as hell, I made bunch of food, got 2 demons and prepared for a run. The last time when we tried to fight Heket, we lost, but it was time to give it another go. The moment I started the run, we got 4 tarot cards. Neptune's Curse, Gift from Below, the Arachnid and the Hearts too. These were pretty good tarot cards. We had damage from the Arachnid and sustainability from the Hearts. The weapon we got was the Necromantic Gauntlet 7. Again, I didn't really like this weapon, but I picked it up hoping that we would get a different one. This would have been a good moment to use that thing we unlocked so we can reroll a weapon once per run, but I never used that. I totally forgot that I had that. After the first room, we got a relic that would instantly refill our fervor. 5 boring rooms later, we were at the end of the floor and we got rewarded with only gold coins, nothing unusual. After seeing the map, I decided to go to the right since there were 2 question marks and, you know, I am a sucker for question marks. The room was empty, it was only Haro who started to tell us useless information about each bishop? Okay? After this, I was able to dodge the combat level by visiting the shop. Here we got the option to take Stihi's Tongue, a relic that would spawn bombs across the room. It sounded interesting, so I continued to the next question mark, who for some reason it was a mini boss fight? What? I got hit about only 2 times and after that I killed him, getting 24 gold coins and 14 bones. What was different this time was the fact that we didn't get a new follower. This was an actual monster. I entered the boss level, stole some devotion, and after the second room we got rewarded with 2 options. Sadly, we didn't get any new weapons, so this was whatever. After a couple of rooms, I didn't pay attention and I lost a lot of HP. I was standing on only 2 hearts left. In the next room, I decided to try my relic and after using it once, it just disappeared. It was not refillable, it was a one-time use. Man. With just 2 red hearts and 1 green heart from our tarot card, we arrived at the boss room. The bad news is that we didn't get any different weapon, we still had the gauntlet. Seeing me approach, Heket started to talk with me, but I just skipped the cutscene because I thought that I have the footage for it in day 30, but I don't, so yeah. The fight starts and he instantly manages to hit me with his tongue. After dodging a couple of his attacks, he started to spawn weaker monsters. Jumps, projectiles, explosions, you name it, he had everything. When he was about half HP left, I got hit once again by one of the minions. Right after that, I got hit again by one of his jumps. When he was about 25% HP left, he just left. Quickly after, 2 big frogs spawned and multiple weaker ones. It was here when I got hit 2 times. I was now sitting on half a heart. While fighting the second big frog, I got hit by a weaker one, so I died. Faced with the option to kill a follower to revive, I decided that this time it was worth it. In the end, I decided to kill Antre. This would give me in return 2 hearts. When he was almost dead, he didn't do one tongue attack, but he used about 10 tongues in the same time. What? I didn't expect that attack, so I got hit again. Even so, after that, I killed him and I got another Heart of the Heretic. Just like with Leshy, after that we got rewarded with a Heket trophy and bunch of gold. Even more, we also got a new follower skin. I got my rewards and a bonus of 20% for killing the bishop. Before we got back, the one who waits started to talk with us again, and this is where I realized that Heket was a she. And I called her him all this time, so sorry for that. Just like the last time, when I got back, I was welcomed by my followers, and now it was day 35. When I got back, I noticed that 2 followers were exhausted, so I told them to go to bed. Collected the Divine Inspiration and held a sermon where we got almost enough points for an upgrade. We had a Commandment Stone, so it was time for a new doctrine. My choice was Sustenance 1, because I have to admit I looked it up on the internet, and when we get to Sustenance 2, we would be able to get the Grass Eater attribute. With that, we would be able to feed our followers grass meals without getting them angry. But for now, our 2 options were Ritual Fast or Feasting Ritual. The first one would make it so our followers will not eat or be hungry for 3 days. The second one would make it so we would throw a grand feast for our followers to refill their hunger and gain a whopping 25 fate. I didn't face any issues with my fate level so far, so I chose the Ritual Fast. We had Heket's Heart, so we were able to get a new upgrade. The one I picked was Omnipresence. This upgrade would basically give us a recall option when we were in our crusades. Having the option to return at any time without dying sounded pretty useful to me. Okay, watch this, wait. I'm breaking character, you guys need to see this. If you're having the video on your second monitor, you got to see this. So, Zepar was telling me about a mission. He wanted to prank Anwar. And then there was a follower in the background, the yellow guy, and I'm just... and after he does that face, he creates the mother loads of poop. The biggest poop I ever seen in this game. Like, look at this. It's bigger than me. What is this? After cleaning it, we didn't get 1 fertilizer, we got 10 fertilizer. Damn. After that, I spent most of the day farming, getting all the plants, planting new ones, watering them, and then we got a mission. Zepar wanted us to build 3 decorations, which I had no reason to not accept the mission. Just like the last time, I built 3 barrels, putting them next to the beds, and while doing so, I noticed that some beds got destroyed. I quickly fixed them, and I got my reward for the mission, while Zepar was sleeping. Like, look at him, his eyes are closed, but he's talking with me. While everyone was sleeping, I got enough devotion to get a new upgrade and I picked the Healing Bay. This was a station for us to heal our sick followers. We didn't need it now, but just like when I built a prison, better safe than sorry. After unlocking it, I spent the rest of the night building it, and now it was the end of day 35. Starting day 36, using my newly acquired gold ingots, I made sure to fuel the propaganda speakers. I blessed everyone, getting some level ups, and after that I held a sermon. We got enough experience for a new upgrade, which was Might of the Devout 3. This was a huge upgrade. It would increase the level of the weapons we get in our crusades. When I entered the dungeon entrances, another chain has broken. We were 1 step closer to our goal. Before I started a new run, I talked with Helob, a spider trader that would give us a follower for the cost of 50 gold. Now, why did I do this? In order to open the 3rd realm, we needed 7 followers. Before going to the 3rd bishop, I decided to do one more run in Anura. At the start, we got our tarot cards, which were the Arachnid, Diseased Heart, the Hearts 2, and Fervor's Harvest. After talking with our friend Haro, we got a very peculiar weapon. The attack on this weapon was insane, 7.3, and it was not an axe, it was a hammer. When I started to clear the first room, I realized that this weapon has a wind-up time. The attack is strong, but it takes a second to charge. After the fourth room, we found the creepy looking statue where we sacrificed 1 heart in return for 2 diseased ones. At the end of floor 1, we were rewarded with a moon necklace and a couple of gold. When I got the minimap, I saw something unusual. A new type of room that was symboled by a grape, and even more, it seemed that I had a mission in there. The room was as simple as possible, an empty square with 6 grapes, so I instantly started to collect them. In the next room, we found Fornius, the shopkeeper, which will give us a free reward. With my options being a commandment stone fragment, a follower skin and a decoration, the choice was obvious. I continued to the next room, which again was a new symbol with exclamation mark pointing that the content of the room will help us in a mission. This time it was not grapes, but it was cotton. We were picking cotton. Advanced to the boss floor, and as usual I started by stealing devotion and destroying the statue. After a couple of enemies we found a blacksmith, but our hammer seemed better, so I just decided to pick a sword and then recycle it. This marked the end of day 36. Continuing the crusade, in day 37 we got another relic. This was Aetherill's power box. When we use it, we would use a random relic. The boss looked different this time, but the mechanics were pretty much the same. After damaging the boss for a bit, it would retreat, spawn minions, and after killing them he would come back. After lowering his HP a bit more, he did the same move once again. This time I hoped that I could kill him before he does it the third time, but he did it again while having no HP. And by no HP, I literally mean no HP. When he came back, I didn't even hit him and he just died. From all the options, I picked the wood, got our gold coins, some bones, and then we got another Eye of the Witness. Got home, collected the Divine Inspiration, and then I held a sermon. After that, I realized that we have enough Commandment Stone fragments for another doctrine. I chose Sustenance 2 so we can get the Grass Eater trait. With this, we would get no negative fate when a follower eats a meal made from grass. The reason why I picked this is because we started to run out of food and we had a lot of grass. After that, I gave them LSD. I held the brainwashing ritual, and after I was done, one of the followers was so happy that he wanted to bring his friends. 2 more followers heard that we had such a good time that they wanted to join our cult. Well, we had the bets for it, so I had no reason to not accept 2 new followers. After spawning, both of them were hungry, so I instantly cooked food for everyone. Did a bit of farming, and then I built 3 offering shrines. My followers could use these to give me gifts, which they instantly started doing after building them. We got 4 stone and 1 golden ingot that will instantly go into the propaganda speakers. After this, we had enough divine inspiration to unlock the farming bundle too. With this upgrade, followers would be able to collect the plants themselves. This would be a huge upgrade since collecting the plants always took me such a long time. While I finished watering the crops, day 38 started. In day 38, it was time to advance in the story. With another over-the-top animation, we opened the door to the 3rd bishop. And remember how I said that we needed 7 followers? I was wrong, we actually needed 9. Upon entering Anchor Deep, we got our 4 tarot cards. The Divine Curse, Master of the Art, the Heart's One, and Neptune's Curse. The weapon we got was the Necromantic Gauntlet 10. Not my favorite one, but it wasn't the worst one. The first room was easy peasy, only low level enemies. The second one was even easier, only 1 lone caterpillar, dude was on a mission. After that, it happened again. Room 3 was filled with low tier enemies, and then the next room had just 1 enemy, a little spiky boy. In room number 5, we took a bit of damage, putting us on 3 hearts left. After getting the floor reward, we got a skull necklace and a couple of gold. On the minimap, it happened again. We got a new room. This time it looked like a pineapple or something like that with an exclamation mark telling us that we have a mission there. I was tempted to go in the room that had our crown symbol, but I already knew what happens there. When we got to the new room, this time we collected a fruit called hops. I have no idea what this is. The next room was filled with resources. We got stone, grass, salmon, and gold nuggets. With that out of the way, now it was time for the boss level. This time, on the second room, we got way stronger enemies. The melee enemies were keeping me at bay while the ranged one were throwing bombs at me. I managed to beat them, getting the Sticky Stone, a relic that spawns bombs across the room, but the problem was, I was 1 HP left. This was bad. After killing the next enemies, it happened again. The room got dark, and this time it was Kalamar, the third bishop. Just like how the previous bishop cast a famine upon our cult, this time it was worse. He was casting a disease. At this point, I admit, I started to panic and I was like, okay, I'm 1 HP left, and the problem is that I didn't know if the virus can spread to all the followers, so I had to make a decision. This was the first time when I used the newly acquired ability to recall. And even more, remember when I said that we should build a healing bait just to be sure? Well, it was time to use it. Healing our follower was comically easy. I just one click and he was fine. He was fine. As a thank you, he got a bunch of experience, and after giving him a little bit of gold, he actually leveled up. I finished day 38 by watering the crops and collecting shrooms. In day 39, I collected a divine inspiration, held a sermon, and then I collected my offerings. Gave a couple of blessings, and then I planned to build 2 lumberyards. Before I managed to do that, Elon gave me a mission and he was like, these new followers, they are not really working that much. How about you perform the glory through toil ritual? I was like, sure, why not? But before that, I finished building the lumberyards. I sent a couple of my followers to work in the lumberyard, and then I collected more divine inspiration. We got enough for an upgrade, and after browsing a bit, my choice was Refinery 2. After that, I fueled the propaganda speaker that was next to the lumberyard, and then I sent even more followers to collect wood. Can't remember exactly why, but it seems like I was in need of wood. I sold a bunch of mushrooms, and then I started to craft 5 golden ingots. After waiting around for the gold ingots, I realized that I can do the ritual in order to complete the mission. I noticed that everyone was hungry, so I cooked a bunch of food and then I went to the Pilgrim's Passage. After fishing for a little bit, I emptied the river. When I got home, I collected some resources and then I got my reward for clearing the mission. After selling a bit of bones, I had enough gold ingots and resources to build a refinery too. The reason why I upgraded it is because I was curious what will change after doing so. I was hoped that after upgrading the refinery we would get more resources, but sadly I was wrong. What got upgraded was the queue. Now we would be able to queue 10 items instead of 5, which was basically useless. While collecting the offerings, I see the notification telling me that day 39 was now over. I started day 40 by holding a sermon and we got enough experience for another upgrade. The upgrade I picked was Zealous Weapons. This is a new type of weapon that will cause the collected fervor to increase our divine inspiration bar. Pretty mediocre if you ask me, like we had enough divine inspiration but the other options were worse. I was planning to go on a crusade, but then I realized the sacrifice ritual is probably up by now and we have an old follower. I don't think I need to explain anything else. It was time for Palmer to go. With the experience we got from him, we unlocked Merciless Weapons. This type of weapon has a chance to deal a critical hit when attacking enemies. When I exit the temple, we got a notification that Elon is horrified that we sacrificed the follower, and because of that we lose faith, but they were brainwashed, so we didn't lose anything. Cooked bunch of food and then I went into a new crusade. Upon entering, we got our 4 tarot cards. Shield of Fate, Divine Curse Plus, Diseased Heart and the Rabbit's Foot. Our weapon was a Merciless Sword 10. This was perfect. Now I was able to test our new upgrade. While clearing the first room, we got a notification that Mertreno was ill and will die in a few days if not rested. What the hell was going on in my cult? In the second room, we crit once again. Whenever we do a critical hit, there's that ding sound effect. The fourth room was pretty hard. We found some sort of a mini boss. After using the Merciless Sword for a bit, it was decent, but it was not amazing. The base damage on the sword was pretty low, so even if we would crit, the damage was still average. In the next room, I found an enemy that would just fly when hit and then explode. What the heck? After getting a decoration, I continued to the next room, and after clearing it, we got a little bit of gold and some bones. The reward for finishing the level was a feathered necklace and a bit of gold. After seeing the minimap, I chose to go to the right. The reason was that it was the fastest way to go to the boss level and we would get a bit of wood. Now that I'm actually watching the replay, I should have gone to the left because we would get stone plus wood or a follower. After getting my wood, we go to the boss level, stole my devotion and then destroyed the statue. I cleared room 1 and 2 without anything unusual happening. After clearing the third one, something amazing happened. I got a necromantic X11. The type of the weapon was whatever, but the level was good enough for me to instantly pick it. With this, we would have a constant 3.8 damage. Comparing that to the previous 1.7 damage from the sword, this was an amazing upgrade. When I got to the boss, whose name was Salios, I realized that this fight was going to be hard. He immediately spawned 3 more enemies and started dashing around like a madman. He actually managed to get me to half a heart, but after killing an enemy, we got a bit of healing. Seeing how hard this fight was made me play very safe. I would poke at him, hitting him 1 or 2 times, dodge, retreat, repeat. Even so, in the end, I still died. This fight was hard, but it didn't seem impossible. Because of that, I killed Alon, giving me 2 hearts in return. While fighting, I got hit again and again and again. I was now 1 hit away from dying and I didn't have the option to revive again. This is the perfect moment to say, not even close, baby! After barely managing to win this fight, I got a new follower and got my rewards. This time I picked a new item called cauliflower. Returning to our cult marked the end of day 14. In day 41, Anowar said that all this mess made him sick. If we didn't let him rest, he will surely die. After cleaning up his mess without hesitating, I told him that he can just go and sleep. I started collecting resources, cleaning poop, and then I found a rainbow poop. A second later, I realized that I can just heal Anowar using the healing bay. Him and another follower that was also sick. Collected some more wood, which I immediately put into the refinery. Collected some plants, chopped down a tree, and then I planted new seeds. While doing so, one of my followers approached me saying that there are rumors going around that we don't have enough food. He wanted me to prove that it was false information by cooking 10 meals. No reason to not do it, and since everyone was hungry, I started cooking. After that, I collected my reward and then I got another one from a mission that I completed without realizing. From this, one of our followers leveled up to level 5. After collecting even more wood, I started using the refineries again to craft more planks. It was finally time to upgrade the farm to level 2, allowing my followers to collect the plants. After that, I got enough devotion for another upgrade and my choice was the Grand Shelter. This was the last upgrade for the sleeping bag. It was such a luxurious upgrade that followers would generate devotion while sleeping. Also, it would never collapse. With this upgrade done, we would now be able to upgrade the cult to level 4. For some reason, the ingredients for this were 3 poop, gold ingots, and planks. What? Decided that we don't need them right now, so I went in the temple and held a sermon. After that, I saw that we were able to get another doctrine. My choice was Possession 4. We could choose between Sacred Architecture trait and the Devotee trait. The first one would give us 5 faith when the new building was constructed. The second one would make it that we would get more faith when delivering a sermon. The best option was obvious. The second one was way much better. I accepted an extra follower and a little bit later, when it was nighttime, I decided to build 4 more graves. Just before the day ended, Zepar told me that he was traveling with a friend when he got captured. Could we possibly go in Anura and find his friend? Again, no reason to not accept the mission, and just like this, day 41 was now over. At this point, we had most of the good upgrades, so it was time to advance in the story. Because of this, in day 42, I started a new crusade. After clearing our first room, we found Clanko and Bop. They were on their way to visit Ratao for a night of drinking and dicing. With this, we were issued another challenge for a game of Knucklebones. I like how step by step we get to meet all Ratau's friends and we need to go and play Knucklebones with them. That's pretty funny. After room 4, we got Galvar's Charm, a relic that would make us increase in size. Last time when I used it, we didn't really get anything, or at least if we got stats, it wasn't obvious, so I decided to just ignore it. We kept advancing where we found Chemak. Here we would find Laplace's dice. When used, this relic would have 50% chance to heal a heart or 50% chance to get a spirit heart. At the end of the floor, we were rewarded with only a chest with 15 gold. After looking at the minimap for a couple of seconds, I decided to go to the right since, again, this was the fastest way to go to the boss floor. After getting some free wood, I advanced to the next room. There, after smashing a couple of boxes, I got some green hearts. After we got to the boss level, it happened again. The room got dark and Calamar appeared before us. He tells us that Ratau was the last vessel who was sent against them. And even more, there were countless before him, all equally pathetic. Nothing humbles quite like disease. Just like the last time, he casted a plague upon our cult. This time, it was not just one follower, but all of them. Even so, this time I was sure that I could heal them just in time if I finished the level. Because of this, I kept advancing, he wasn't going to escape. After a couple of rooms, we were rewarded with the Apostate's Cleaver 11. It was an axe, my favorite weapon, with a whopping 4.2 damage. Soon after this, we go to the boss fight. I mean, the reality is that we were standing on like, what, 8 hearts? This fight wasn't even close. He kept trying to hit me with projectiles, dashing away, summoning minions, but it didn't really matter. Except the first time we got hit at the start of the battle, he didn't even manage to hit me once. Only if I just didn't get hit at the start of the level, I would get that neat 20% bonus. When I got back, the first thing I did was to heal everyone using the healing bay. This building was amazing. If I didn't have it, I would need to let all of them sleep for like what, 2 or 3 days. When it was nighttime, I repaired some beds and cleaned some poop. Seeing that I had enough divine inspiration for another upgrade, it was time for a big one. The cult was now level 4, allowing more followers to pray at the shrine. With the day almost over, I filled the queue of the refinery and started to build 2 seed silos since now the farm was upgraded, so the followers were actually useful. After building the first seed silo, the day was finally over. At the start of day 43, I made sure to finish the second silo, held a sermon, cooked some food, and then I transformed 2 of my followers into demons. With 5 extra hearts and a bomb demon, I was ready to go. When starting the crusade, we got our tarot cards, the rabbit's foot, gift from below, fervor's harvest, and the hearts 1. The weapon we got was the merciless sword 10, not good but not bad. After beating the enemies in the first room, we were rewarded with Kudai's toenail. What? The second room was uneventful, and the third one had some sort of a mini-boss, but it wasn't that much of a fight. 2 more rooms and we were at the end of the floor. We got rewarded with a couple of gold and a feather necklace. After taking a quick look at the minimap, I chose the second option since it would be the fastest way to the boss. The first room out of the 3 rooms that we would need to go through was the follower rescue room. The second one was a room with food, so no fights here. The next one was a shopkeeper where I got another stone fragment. After that, it was time for the boss level. When I got to the second room, I found a new face. His name was Plimbo. He tells us that he was some sort of a trader, and with that said, we get a new location. We would now be able to visit the Smuggler's Sanctuary. After we were done talking, I advanced to the third room where something interesting happened. It was Calamar, who, after seeing that we cannot be stopped by disease or hunger, started to plead his case, asking us to spare him. He was begging us to spare him and kill Shamura. Even more, he was sure that we would never find his temple. Kind of a weird encounter, and after this, he didn't even spawn enemies to attack us. I had no idea what to think of this encounter, so I just continued. The next room was filled with 3 enemies who I have to admit were pretty strong. We lost quite a lot of HP. The next room was filled with low-level enemies and the next one was filled with just one minion. Again, why? After clearing them, I go to the boss fight. This fight was pretty disappointing. The only thing that he did was shoot projectiles at me, but they were fairly easy to dodge. In the whole fight, we got hit like maybe 2 times? A bit disappointed, I defeated his monster form and just as usual, we got an extra follower. As a reward, I got wood and then we got some extra bones and gold coins. By the time I arrived home, it was already nighttime. I repaired the bed, accepted the new 2 followers and then I went to the Divine Inspiration menu. I didn't really know what to pick, so I picked the Trap Scarecrow. This would not only allow us to protect our crops from birds, but we would be able to catch the birds as well. And even more, after that we had enough points for another upgrade. Wood was and will always be a very important resource. With that in mind, I started building a couple of improved lumberyards. Day 44 started and together with my followers, we built the lumberyards. While doing this, I made sure to give them blessings. We had 2 of them, but the line was not complete, so I decided to build one more. After holding a sermon, we had enough points for an upgrade. My choice was Curse of the Occultist. Long story short, we would get more curses in our crusades. With this upgrade out of the way, the next time when we will have enough points, we will be able to get another Might of the Devout upgrade. After that, I transformed the same 2 followers into demons, preparing for the next crusade. When joining Anchor Deep, we were welcomed by the bishop, but before that, tarot cards. This was the first time when we got a ++ upgrade. Divine Curse ++ would make it so our curses would consume 75% less fervor. On top of that, we got Diseased Heart, Gift from Below and Rabbit's Foot. Overall, very good tarot cards. After a bit of yapping from the bishop, we got our weapon. This time it was a Bane Sword 10. Again, not the best, but hey, not the worst. After demolishing the first room, we got another decoration. Useless, but good to have. The second room rewarded us with a relic, Turwa's Tentacle. This would spawn a tentacle that inflicts damage when touched. The third room and the fourth one were a breeze, nothing unusual happened. Even the chest at the end was disappointing, giving us only gold. After taking a quick look at the minimap, once again I chose the shortest route to the boss. That would be the third option, going to a shop. Here we found Chemak, who gave us a relic. After this, we advanced to a question mark room, where I had the option to choose between half a red heart or half a green heart. The next room was a follower rescue event. This time nobody was around him and this little guy was upset. They took his family and sacrificed them to Calamar. Now he was all alone. Of course, I didn't hesitate to save the little guy. Now we had a reason to kill Calamar. We will not only take revenge for, killing us, but we will also avenge his family. The first room was just one monster. Come on dude, secure your place better. The second room was, again, one minion. Dude, he's legit underestimating us. When we go to room number 4, the bishop appeared, but it wasn't the one that I expected. It was Shamura, who started to tell us some sort of prophecy. 5 becomes 4, becomes 3, becomes 2, becomes 1, becomes nothing. Calamar was always frightened of the red crown. Fear made a coward out of him. His room was the next to be knocked down. Knock knock, the lamb comes to race. End of days, end of days. After that ominous little segment, we killed a couple of enemies and we proceeded to the next room. We found a blacksmith where we picked Divine Guardian 12. This ability would make us immune to damage for about 2 seconds after using it. Battling our way through another room, we arrived at the end of the floor. There, the door to the Temple of Calamar finally broke down. From begging us for forgiveness and mercy, he was now angry. Just like the previous bishops, he sacrificed his followers in order to get power. I have to admit, he started the fight pretty strong. He was basically a flamethrower. The fight went just like you would expect. Both of us started to take damage. He kept teleporting around and shooting me with projectiles. But remember the curse we got? The divine protection thingy? It was so good for this fight. Every time when he would unleash a barrage of projectiles, I would just use the ability. Even so, it wasn't enough to dodge everything and I got hit maybe like 2 times. As the fight drew to a close, he kept spawning more and more minions, but it was useless. Just like the previous bishops, in the end he died. After the fight was over, we got the Heart of the Heretic. This quickly prompted the seal of the door to break down. We also got Calamar's Trophy, another decoration to add to the list. On top of that, we got another follower skin and a couple of gold. Before getting home, we were welcomed by the One Who Waits. Calamar was always such a coward. The land was now a better place without him. Soon he shall be freed. All will pledge themselves to the cult. All will bow down to his name. Suffering shall turn to triumph. That which once did perish shall now pray. Another ominous beat and we were back to the cult. Just like before, we had a welcome party and now it was day 45. In day 45, I accepted a new follower, chopped some wood and then held a sermon. Using the heart we got from the third bishop, I got a new upgrade, the hunger. Once per crusade, eat food to receive a heart that will vary depending on what is eaten. I thought that this was going to be a normal temple run, but something different happened. The red crown started to float by itself. Even more after opening its eye, it turned into a snake. Apparently, it was happy to finally speak with us. We have come so far, farther than they will ever know. This is where we unlocked a new game mechanic. The crown teaches us that we could take advantage of the sins of our followers. Even better, we also unlocked some new upgrades. Even more, the doctrines now had an additional section. Sin 1. Those who sin shall be forgiven. After clicking it, I was presented with two options. The Rite of Lust, where followers would compete in a naughty naked dance. We would select our favorite dancer to receive sin. The other one was the Rite of Wrath. This ritual would let our followers indulge in havoc and violence. With the risk of having to censor some of the gameplay, I chose the Rite of Lust. The ritual didn't cost me anything, it was absolutely free, so why not? Just for a moment, all the followers were outside, dancing around the shrine. I'm not completely sure what is going on, but now the game shows us that their sin level maxed out, I think. After that, everyone teleported inside the temple and they were naked. One follower was chosen. A second later, his eyes turn dark, he starts to glow, and we get a snake out of his mouth. What is going on? After this weird event, we unlocked another upgrade. Icon 1, a simple wooden icon. This would cost 3 golden bars and 1 sin, and we had the perfect amount, so why not? As usual, the animation was over the top, with thunders hitting the temple. After that, the temple floor just magically changed. After exiting the temple, I noticed that now the outside is different as well. The level 1 icon that we selected as an upgrade was now above the door. Still a bit confused, I decided that it was time to visit the Smuggler's Sanctuary. There we found Plimbo, the NPC that we discovered a while ago. After a bit of yapping, he proposed a pretty interesting deal. He was going to pay a pretty penny for the Eye of the Witness. Before continuing the trade, I decided to take a look at the tarot cards. Out of the 4 options, I bought the Soul Snatcher. When killing an enemy, we have a 10% chance of healing. After that, I talked with Plimbo once again and gave him the Eye of the Witness. In return, he gave us another relic fragment. Even more, after doing that I realized that I had one more eye, so I did a trade once again. With nothing else to trade, I decided to also visit the Pilgrim's Passage. The mission to collect gems was now completed, so I could get my reward. The reward wasn't really impressive, it was just a new follower skin, but whatever. Since I was visiting secondary locations, today I also decided to visit the Lonely Shack. It was time to play a game of Knucklebones with Clanko and Boop. His difficulty should have been the highest out of everyone, but it wasn't. It was easy. Who knows, maybe I'm just a Knucklebones prodigy. Our reward was a new tarot card, Strength from Without. Receive 5 fervor when hit. A pretty weird tarot card, but if you have the right build for it, it might be broken. By the time I got back to the cold, it was almost nighttime, so I decided to spend the rest of the day farming. On day 46, another chain has broken. We were now one step closer to the One Who Waits. At this moment, I just wanted to advance in the game, so I instantly go to the new territory. With another over-the-top animation, Silk Cradle was now open. Literally forget what I just said. I didn't go in the new territory, I just went to the third one. To be honest, I was going to skip through this, but something interesting happened. We got the Mayhem's Cannon 10. Pretty easy to explain, this was a shotgun with 3 bullets. First I thought that a ranged weapon would be OP in this game, but I was kinda wrong, it was pretty weak. The first 4 rooms were pretty boring since the shotgun took forever to kill them. Room 5 was pretty fun, filled with monsters who die from one hit, and the 6th room was the same but just way more monsters. After getting my reward, which was a floor decoration, I advanced towards the minimap. The whole reason I joined this run was to rescue the brother of the follower who gave me the mission, so this was it. For some reason, this was such a hard fight. It wasn't just 2 waves, it was about 4. Also, I really didn't like using the shotgun, it felt weak and just awkward. Because of that, I ended up taking way too much damage. But hey, at least we completed the mission. There was no point in me continuing this, so I just used the recall ability and I returned to the cult. Cooked everyone a bunch of food and collected the divine inspiration, which gave us enough points for an upgrade. My choice was to upgrade the outhouse, since it was one of my favorite buildings. As usual, the day was almost over, so I spent the rest of the night farming. In day 47, I randomly got a mission to build a sleeping bag, okay? After completing it, I started blessing everyone and accepting the reward from the quest. It was time for a sermon who gave us enough points for a huge upgrade. With the experience, we had enough points to get the Might of the Devout, and then it was time for another sacrifice. Since we had an elder follower, we got 100% experience. With this, we got the last upgrade from the Might of the Devout series. The weapons we would find in our crusades would be the highest level possible. After this, it was time for a new doctrine. After I picked Afterlife 1, my 2 options were Belief in the Sacrifice trait and Belief in the Afterlife trait. Both of them were mid, so I went with the first option. Everyone would get 20 fate when another cult member was sacrificed. From this moment of the video, I decided that it was time to focus on the story. With that in mind, I entered the Silk Cradle. Upon entering, as usual, we got our tarot cards. Overall, pretty good cards, good sustain and a rabbit's foot. The weapon we got was the Warmaker's Hammer 16 with a whopping 9 damage. The moment we entered the room, everything turned dark and Shamura welcomed us. After talking a bit, he tells us that he was the fifth bishop of the Old Faith. Their brother, the one who waits. Back then, he was known by the name Nerinder. As time went on, he grew discontent with his role. He began to question. He was gluttonous in his ambition. Even so, Shamura loved him. For it, he lost his mind. For it, he lost his freedom. It was obvious that Shamura was angry. Could we fathom such betrayal? Someone from our own cult turning against us? Well, we were about to find out. One of my followers appeared in the room. Blinded by rage, he started attacking us, so we had to put him down. As a reward for this, we got a decoration, but to be honest, I was annoyed. Like, what was this? The second room was easy to clear and the third one was just empty. I think this is where it was supposed to be like a tarot card dealer, but we have the white silk, so that happened. Room number 4 was fairly easy, we took no damage, and then room number 5 was also easy, but we took half a heart. Never mind, we healed it back. After clearing the first floor and seeing the minimap, the choice was obvious. The left path would have no fights and I would also complete a mission. The first room, which was a question mark, was just Ratu waiting for us. Just like Chaos from Hades, he gave us a challenge. If we will be able to finish the next room without using any curses, he was going to give us a gift worth having. The next room was a new NPC. Her name was Berit. She literally starting roasting me, going like, if that's how you dress, how ugly are your followers? What? After talking a bit with her, we unlocked a new building and then we had the option to buy a robe design. Didn't take much to understand that this was some sort of a cosmetic store. Ignoring her, I continued to the boss floor. The first room was pretty easy and the second one was still easy but way more minions. The third room just gave us commandment stone fragments. Okay, I'll take it. After a while, Ratao appeared in front of us saying that we managed to finish the mission. As a reward, we got a new tarot card, Consecrated Oil. With this, relics would charge 25% faster. When I arrived in the boss fight, this time the monster was a spider. The fight was pretty uneventful. He managed to get me to 1.5 hearts, but it wasn't close. The reward I chose was 19 beetroots, and as usual, I got my chest with gold and bones. When I got home, it was nighttime, and my followers prepared a gift for me. When cleaning an outhouse, I got the maid outfit. A perfect outfit for cleaning. And to be honest, I didn't notice this in the game, and I kinda regret it because I would like to see the little guy in a maid suit. But yeah, I completely didn't notice this. Collected some resources, collected my offerings, and then the divine inspiration points. At the start of day 48, the fate level was low, so I instantly held a sermon. When everyone was exiting the temple, I did the most amazing blessing ever. I blessed like, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 followers in the same time. After that, I did a bit of farming and then I transformed 2 followers into demons. With that out of the way, it was time for a new crusade. After getting the tarot cards, I got my weapon, which was a Vampiric Dagger 16. Again, not my favorite weapon, but it has a pretty decent heavy attack. What the heck is this room? A giant X and centipedes? I hate it, thanks. After 2 more rooms filled to the brim with enemies, I found a very weird encounter. It was an ad. It's basically an ad. It was an ad for the Midas Cave. With this, we got our last location. After finishing the floor with no problems, we got our first decoration from Seal Cradle. Once again, I chose the shortest route possible to the boss since I wanted to beat the game already. Going to the right allowed me to only talk with Ratau and then get another safe encounter. The next 2 rooms were fairly easy since I was pretty much abusing the heavy attack of the dagger. Soon after, we fought some sort of a mini-boss, and after we killed him, we got the giant skull. In the next room, Shamura appeared once again, giving us the option to make peace. But his option of peace was me bowing, so hell no! Angered by my decision, he disappeared and of course started spawning waves of enemies. The next boss, called Vepar, this time wasn't a spider, was a centipede. I hate centipedes. His fighting style was a bit unique compared to the previous bosses. Instead of directly attacking me, he kept running around the room, throwing poison everywhere. We took a bit of damage, but the overall fight was easy. I got a new follower and resources. Before we go to the cult, something very weird happened. I was sure that it was the one who waits, but I was wrong. An unnamed creature appeared in front of us. It's been ages since a new idol has appeared. If we would continue in the same fashion, we would meet again. If not, we should be thankful for our meeting now. After that, he started cursing us in some weird language. Starting a new day, I cooked everyone food and gave them blessings. Chopped a tree, held a sermon, and then I got a new doctrine. Our options were the ritual of resurrection or just funeral. It seemed like the first option was better, so I decided to choose the ritual. I didn't have a use for this, so I just left and got enough divine inspiration for an upgrade. This time I indulged myself and picked the leader's tent, another building that I would never get to use in this video. Before I had time to even build it, I got a quest to accept an elderly follower, and then, with the help of my cult, I built the tent. After that, it was time for the Seal Cradle once again. Upon entering, we got our tarot cards, and we didn't get just 1, but 2 upgraded cards. The best one was Gift from Below Plus, 20% chance to get a blue heart when killing an enemy. Sadly, once again, our weapon was a small dagger. In the next room, we found another new friendly NPC called Shroomy. Maybe I had a Knucklebones reputation that I didn't know about. This guy also challenged me to a game when I would visit Ratau. The first room was 2 giant axes and a giant scorpion. In the next room, Shamura appeared once again. He repeated just like before that if we kept helping the one who waits, we would just end up as a sacrificial pawn. This time, when leaving, he summoned 2 more of my followers. Not gonna lie, this was starting to get a bit annoying. A spider, a scorpion, some weird bubble monster, and 2 minions later, we were at the end of the floor. Just like before, my goal was to take the shortest route to the boss. I went to the left since it would be 2 shops, 1 follower and free food. At the first shop, we got a commandment stone fragment. The second one was a relic shop, where of course we got a relic. After that, I went to the right, picking the wood option. The next room was a question mark. Here I found some sort of a new trader that would sell us a very expensive tarot card. It was a decent card, but I didn't feel like it was worth 150 gold coins. Just like that, we were now at the boss level, and seeing the first room, I understood why that card would be useful. The main danger of this level were probably going to be traps, I think? Luckily, I was wrong. The next 3 rooms were filled with only enemies. Soon after, we arrived at a boss who this time was a scorpion. He had multiple dashes, a poison attack, and even projectiles, but even so, I pretty much abused the heavy attack on the daggers, so he didn't stand a chance. Got some coins, bones, beetroot seeds, and a stone fragment. With this, day 49 was now over. The sermon I held on day 50 gave me enough experience for an upgrade. And I know I said I got the last Might of the Devout upgrade, but apparently there was one more, and we got it now. So now the weapons will have like the maximum level possible in our crusades. After that, it was time for a little bit of fun. In case that more followers will die in the next crusade, they won't be sad anymore because, you know, they are brainwashed. I turned 2 followers into demons, completely ignored the little guy that was yelling at me for a mission, cooked bunch of food for everyone, and then it was time for another crusade in the Silk Cradle. The bishop was already waiting for us in the first room, but before that we get our tarot cards. After telling us that he will be waiting us at the temple, we get our weapon, the Merciless Dagger 19. The first 4 rooms were filled to the brim with enemies. At this point, we did this many times, so I'm just going to skip to the interesting part. In room number 4, the bishop spawned once again, saying that even if he will die, he would still not trade places with us. After disappearing, he spawned 2 waves of enemies, but even so, we easily cleared the room, and then at the end of the floor, we got another decoration. After seeing the minimap, the goal was the same, the shortest route to the boss. In the first room, Ratu was fishing as usual. After breaking some crates, I advanced to the relic shop. I completely ignored both Chemak and the relic, and then I just advanced. After that, we got a follower rescue event without a fight. That's perfect. The events were a breeze, and now we were at the boss level. After stealing some devotion, I advanced to the first room, which was filled with spiders. The second room, even more spiders, and then the third one, a spider and a scorpion. After the third room, we got the best possible reward options. We could choose between a Bane Hammer 20 with a whopping 10.1 damage, or a Zealous Axe 20 with a decent 5.1 damage. Even if the hammer had higher damage, my choice was the axe. After losing 1 heart throughout 3 uneventful rooms, we found Chemak again. After taking the relic, which was fairly useful, I arrived at the temple door. This time, the seal was broken. It was time to fight the last bishop. After sacrificing his followers, just like the previous bishops, we could now see his real form. Surprise, surprise, it's a spider, woo! When the fight started, I was sure that it was going to be another boring fight, but after missing me for a bunch, the boss kept hitting me, and even more, he kept dodging my attacks. The fight wasn't particularly hard, but it was long. He kept jumping, dashing, dodging, you name it. By the time when he was low HP, I was low HP as well. I barely managed to win this with only 1 heart left. Close or not, we were victorious, and the last bishop was now dead. The last chain holding the door towards the one who waits was finally destroyed. While I was collecting the rewards, I already started to wonder, now what? It was obvious that we'll have some sort of encounter with the one who waits, but do we fight him? Will we be friends, or? Just like every time when we killed the bishop, the one who waits interrupted us before arriving to the cult. It was time to free him. And thus, we shall have the honor of returning the red crown to its true bearer. He even admitted that we wore the crown almost as good as him. I even sacrificed 4 followers to straighten the cult. No, to straighten us. Our appetite for death was something that he could admire. But at the end of the day, we were a vessel. The crown was his. Only he was worthy, not us. We shall lay down our life and return to him what's his. The problem was that it couldn't be done there. The final gate was waiting. Just like before, my followers threw a welcome party celebrating the victory. Still a bit unsure how to feel about the one who waits, I just collected the divine inspiration and got another upgrade. We didn't really need it, but I unlocked the healing bay too. After that, I finished the night by cooking bunch of food. At the start of day 51, the seal was finally broken. I carefully advanced to what I thought it was the room of the one who waits. A second later, I realized that I would need 20 followers in order to do this. This changes everything. Current objective, get 8 followers. The first thing that I did was to build more beds since I didn't have 20 of them, and then I even upgraded them to the better version. After that, I started accepting new followers. We had a total of 3, 1 old follower from that mission and 2 followers that we got from the last crusade. We had a total of 15, we needed 5 more. This was a perfect moment to buy 1 more follower from Hello. Since it's been a while, I went to the first realm looking for 4 more followers. The rest of day 51 was just me roaming around, so I'm going to skip it. When we got back to the cold, it was already day 52. The first thing I did was to buy 1 more follower from Hello. We were now sitting on 16 followers. After that, I went to the summoning circle to indoctrinate all the new followers. With all the new people that we got from our last crusade and the last person that we bought from Hello, we were sitting on the perfect amount of 20 followers. I instantly went to the room and started performing the ritual. When I got teleported to the world of the one who waits, I was surrounded by weapons. This is a pretty good indicator that we are supposed to fight him, so we should prepare. All the weapons were, well, shit, but I had to choose one. In the end, I picked the gauntlet and the flaming projectile. This time, we were meeting the one who waits in person. He was, oh my god, that's a hard word. He was relinquishing us from the service to the Red Crown. We had to return the crown to him. We had to embrace the end that awaits. With this last sacrifice of his most devoted follower, he will be freed. Even more, it wasn't just us. All our followers appeared in some sort of a cage. We advanced to him and were given the option to kneel to be sacrificed. After thinking for a while, I was like, listen, I never said that we are friends, okay? I refused, armed myself, and prepared for the fight that was about to come. An unwritten gaming rule is that first you need to defeat the minions to get to the boss. Because of that, our first enemy was going to be Baal. His first attack seemed simple, but then he followed up with a chain of projectiles. After spawning some low-level enemies, he did a projectile attack again. This time it was in the shape of a cross. He did his best, but this fight was fairly easy. Seeing this, the other minion, Aim, gets up saying that he was going to do a better job. Seeing that Baal dropped a heart, I tried to pick it up and because of it I got hit. His projectiles were way faster than anything that I fought before. Even more, he seemed to have the same annoying ability that Baal just used. On top of that, he was shooting projectiles that would even return to him. This is when I realized that I have my own projectiles, so I killed him from a distance. After beating him, the one who waits was like, what, did you think you could win? After that, he breaks the chains by himself. Wait, listen, wasn't the whole idea of the game that he's captured and he needs my help to get free? Like, how? Hello? How can he just do that? Once again, setting a new record for projectile speed, the one who waits literally started blasting. Of course, he also had the annoying ability from his minions while teleporting around the map. After getting his HP to about 33%, I died. This time, I didn't even have the option to sacrifice a follower, I was just sent back. A bit ashamed of myself, I went back to give it another go. This time, we had way better weapons. The choice was obvious, I picked the Warmaker's Hammer 19. We also got a decent ability, which was the Death Sweep 19. This time, I knew what was coming. The fight with Baal was easy. I almost finished this fight without getting hit, but at the end I got hit once. After defeating the second guard, I was standing on a solid 3 hearts. With the extra heart that we would get from defeating the second minion, we are basically full HP. After starting the fight with the one who waits, I instantly got hit 2 times. When I got him to about half HP, it happened again. I got hit 2 times in a row. Even so, 2 hearts was more than enough to finish this fight. If I would be careful and the boss didn't have a second stage, we would be good to go. We were sitting on 1.5 hearts, but he was almost dead. This was going as planned. After dodging some projectiles, I got impatient and because of that, I was hit 2 times. We were sitting on half HP right now, but the fight was finally over. We won. Did you think you believe me? Of course there's a second stage, come on dude. After a very creepy animation, the one who waits revealed his true form. Okay, for the ones who are just listening and not watching the video, he looks horrendous. Even more, what the heck is going on? All my followers appeared around me being literally crucified. What? On top of that, his eyes pop out of its head and start to float towards me. I was sitting on half a heart, so I had to be very careful while doing this. To be honest, the fight started pretty good. I managed to kill all 3 eyes without even getting hit once. Sadly, even the eyes have a second stage. After I killed all of them, they instantly respawned and hit me. This was the second time when I failed. Annoyed as hell, I didn't even go back to the Colt, I just went for another one. This time, my weapon of choice was the Bane X19. Just like the previous time, we managed to defeat Bal with 3 hearts left. I admit, I was a bit annoyed, and because of that, I played poorly and died while fighting AIM. This is when I started using my brain. I realized that I had an upgrade that would allow me to eat food once a day to get a heart. On top of that, I was living under the false impression that if my followers are captured, I cannot transform them into demons to help me, right? Wrong, the demonic summoning circle was still working. The first follower that I transformed was Yarna. We would get 3 extra hearts. The second best option was Salios, a level 2 follower that would transform into a damage type demon. We were now sitting on 6 hearts. The weapons that we got were absolutely weak. After browsing for a while, I decided to give the shotgun a try. Using the shotgun and the knowledge I had from the previous fights, I did my best to play as safe as possible. After defeating the guards, when the fight started with the one who waits, we were sitting on a solid 5 hearts. To be honest, I did worse than I imagined I would, because after defeating his first form, we had only half a heart left. I started the second battle with absolutely no expectations. Just like the first fight, I tried to play it as safe as possible, killing 1 eye at a time. Dodged the many projectiles that were coming my way, and then again and again and again. Because of the occasional heals that we would get after defeating an eye, we barely managed to survive the damage. After killing the last eye, 1 more hit was enough to finally defeat the one who waits. Just like all the previous boss fights, after defeating his monster form, he turned into a little guy. He was at our mercy. Were we going to be a vengeful false idol or a merciful coward? Now we would no longer be able to blame our vile acts on him. With that said, we were faced with the option to spare him or murder him. Probably it would annoy him more to spare him, so I just decided to do so. With a totally broken animation because 2 of my followers were old, so they were slower, the video is finally coming to an end. If you got to this point, thank you for watching, you're amazing. I'm new to this, but I will try to have at least 1 or 2 videos a month. Once again, if you enjoyed the video, hit that like button, subscribe or come say hi on Discord. Everything will be linked in the description. That's it for now, see you next time.